Hello! You can't see it, but Dubs is dancing real hard on the other side of my screen. And
thanks, Dubs. You just got her back.
I'm trying to focus, but it's very difficult. Anyway, welcome back to The Interest of Cheese. It's been a while since we had one of these. This is one of our kind of chatty shows where we just talk about D&D and stuff. Because it's the three of us, it actually kind of turned out that it's sort of like the DMs of the channel in a way. So we're going to have more questions that are in reference to that. But before that, we'll go through and introduce ourselves and things and stuff. So I am Foos, or Foozca, depending on who you ask, I guess. But I am a DM and a player on this channel, and I will likely be back on Girls Run These Worlds at some point, and possibly others, but we'll see what's going on. But yeah, I'm going to pass it to Flandy with his book of cheese.
do you say to someone who's trying to steal your cheese?
No.
That's
It's
not your
nacho cheese,
God.
baby.
Yay, Dennis got one! Yay! I'm so proud of you, buddy.
I already
No.
knew that one.
Encourage
with
this
that cheese
behavior.
being broken. I'm Flanny. I DM here with the Humble Woods. Also, I'm player of these two. I gotta do it backwards because it's always backwards. These two Campagnes.
Yep.
They always try to kill me and do crazy stuff.
I feel like you try to kill yourself.
It's up for debate.
I wholeheartedly agree with Foos.
I think you're doing.
We were in our own home that was gifted to us by the kings, and it's magical, and we're still getting stabbed in the chest.
You weren't stabbed in the chest.
I said we, as a group.
The collective.
You stab one of us, you stab us all.
But you
Any
were
hoots.
the target.
That's what I do. And every now and then, if you like watching us play games and not be politically correct at all, we do some gaming on my channel, and that is a huge disclaimer. It is definitely not for the weak.
No.
And off the Nenners.
Hello, I'm Netters. I am also a DM here on Fridays, allegedly trying to kill Flandy on a regular basis. I will not debase myself like my brother did with cheese jokes, but I'm very excited to be here and dwell in the cheese. That's all I got.
Dwell in the cheese.
Yes.
Hey, what did the cheese do with the Kleenex?
Something
blew its nose.
Oh boy. I'm actually real happy Kid isn't here because he'd be encouraging this nonsense. Anyway.
Yeah, we hope you're enjoying your con. Have a great night. But other things, we're gonna hop into some questions and we're gonna chat now. There is actually something that I kind of wanted to bring into future cheese episodes, so we're gonna get started with that now, and that's essentially talking about recent events that have happened in the games that we are currently in. So if there's something that you guys wanted to discuss about, like, legacy or difficult terrain that has happened recently, we'll at least have an opportunity to kind of hash any of that shit out immediately. So I'll get started and talk about how Rolam has ruined Lexi. So if you weren't there for it, a very important secret that the group was holding was leaked, and it's kind of like mission ending kind of stuff. It's real bad. like really, really, really bad. So yeah, at the end of that, Ravaya had to use one of the cards that she pulled from a deck of many things and reverse it, because both me and Ravaya were like, I don't know how we progress right now. I don't know how this works. This is if we don't fix this problem, I think we're fucked. So that was rough. And there's also a part of me that's like, man, this is probably a dark turn for both Rolam and Ravaya in a lot of ways. Not necessarily their relationship, but them as individuals. Because that's a lot. That's a lot. So I'm very excited to see where that goes next. And in a way, I think both me and Ravaya are relieved that the very next thing was another fight. So it's you know what? I don't have to process these emotions yet. let me deal with this first, and then we'll see how I feel about it later on. But yeah, that was rough.
So, fun fact: I actually didn't have an official stat block for Rajats because I didn't think you'd be dumb enough to cross him 100%. Now, the best part about this was I'm like, fuck, where do I even start? So I'm scouring the internet, as one does, because he's a legit NPC from Dark Sun. And just a snippet, just from one that I have, is Rajat has never been statted. He is a godlike character and is as powerful as the story requires. So I was like,
powerful as the story requires.
I'm like, well, they're kind of fucked. So yeah. I did make one. It is absolutely ludicrous. And
so what you're saying is there's still a chance for that one.
You don't have to give us numbers or whatever, but is his plus to hit above 15?
Yes.
I was legitimately thinking, you ever roll a nat 1 and make a 51?
I know, right?
Yeah, he's got all kinds of horrible things I've built for him. So I had to like research like all the stuff that he's done in canon to other people and like how he uses powers and stuff like that. And yeah, it's bad.
Hey, to be fair.
Yep.
First off,
You
his
were
driver
drunk.
was drunk.
Yep.
Second off, he got told to entertain this dude, and he had a ring of mind shielding. What could go wrong?
I think part of that, yeah, the drunk part on you. The mind shielding ring, unfortunately, you weren't around for when they were talking to the antecedent, or maybe you were for a little bit. I think you were at least part of it, right?
He was there for some
Yeah.
of it, but
Well,
I don't
he
think he's as familiar
overwhelmed.
with. Yeah, he's not familiar with that kind of stuff.
He
So he had
absolutely
that like
shattered.
shield of like.
What's his name's?
Kind of
Yeah.
circlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess kind of spoilery, but not really. But in the way I treat psionic items, is they're a bit more fragile than magic items, especially if that energy is sent back through them. Like they're just as resistant to magic and stuff as normal, but if it's like another scion like intentionally trying to get through it and they're strong enough to do it, yeah, I see it as like kind of a resonance thing.
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. It just, in my mind, in Rollum's mind, like that's the like false like, oh, I'm untouchable. I got this magic ring on. I'm good to go. Fuck you want a show? Let's give you a show.
Oh, yeah.
Ruh-roh.
Mom.
Yeah, pretty much. But no, I mean, with that reset, it's back again. Unfortunately, you no longer have a safety net.
Yeah.
If anything goes horribly wrong, or somebody dies, or a bunch of people die, or whatever.
Yep.
But yeah,
that's the reason why Revi was holding on to it for so long, and that's why she didn't use it immediately when she wanted to kind of bring that back, because she was like, we have to ensure that we make it. And then maybe we can fix some of the problems that have happened before, but that's the order it has to happen in. And that's why that was like always, and like I never put that in the bag of holding because she would always have that on her person just in case. And she was hoping that she wouldn't have to use it until they were all done and they could look at the sunset and have a good time and just, not worry about it. But no, she had to use that a little earlier than I was expecting.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it's gonna untangle. Like I agree that it like I don't like necessarily the way that the events went down, like it, but from a story standpoint, I love it. And then like more so like I enjoy the challenge of like how does he handle this? Because he knows stuff, but he also doesn't know stuff, and it's like that weird balance of being a shit cocky dude who's like, I did nothing wrong. And being smart enough to realize that something big happened, he just doesn't know what it is. And just kind of like that quiet mouth, like, oh, I fucked up. So it's a very fun and interesting balance to juggle. And I don't know how exactly things are going to unfold. And I'm kind of excited for that. Although I do hate that the card got burned. Flamey hates it. Roll has no idea.
Thank you. Trust me, Ravani is real fucking mad that that got burned. Honestly, like I kind of like, and I didn't have. I mean, she had plans for it, obviously, and I kind of in my brain I was like, I hope she can, but I feel like it won't work out in that way. I honestly thought that something, maybe even in the final fight or something with Dragoth, was going to make her kind of like make a decision of your original decision, or something got super fucked in that fight, and then that's her opportunity to change it. So I was like, oh man, that's where I thought her choice was going to have to be. Yeah, not before we ever even got there. And it was especially interesting just because like that particular card is what kind of fucked over the Gelatinis when we were with them too. So like that same card was like used very like close in relationship in terms of the timeline of that story. Like it was nuts. Oh my god. Oh hey Goblins and Warlocks, what's up? This is the show that we do sometimes if we don't have anything to broadcast. So unfortunately we had too many people out tonight to continue our legacy campaign. So instead we talk about stuff, and because our channel there's a lot of cheese on it, we named it in the end. So here we are. But yeah, we're talking about how 2 of the. Are they just called fate cards, Nanners? I don't remember.
I think it was a card of fate from. Let me pull it up here.
Actually, Goblins of Warlocks, to answer your question there, I absolutely fully intend on inviting others in the future. The only problem is like it is very spontaneous. So if people are, if they have a schedule and we're like, hey, are you free in 2 hours? It might be intense, but yeah, I'll keep you in mind. It sounds like you would love to come chat about stuff. But we were just talking about how was it the card?
The fates.
The fates.
Reality's fabric unravels and spins away, allowing you to avoid or erase an event as if it never happened. You can't use this card's magic as soon as you draw another card or anything. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I never heard. Yeah. Revia literally was like, what's this deck of cards? And like, she's a very curious person, but I was like, I'm so nervous. But Revia would genuinely pull a card.
Anytime you give your players a deck of many things, you're like, oh,
yeah.
This could be so bad.
Yeah, exactly. And I got lucky, honestly. I got very lucky.
You got probably the best card in the deck, like realistically speaking.
Yup. And then she just kind of socked that away.
Did we run into it again or something similar?
Well, okay, who was it? I think Acererak got another deck, pulled the same card, and then got it so that what were they? The shallow rock and cock and dockins. I don't remember.
Shallow rock.
What was it?
The Zelastophin.
I was super. Got it. Yeah, so that like their the Gelatini ancestor never took care of them, so that way.
Yeah, but we went to the Revia and Rolla, ironically, went to the Tower of Benevolent Reason, and wasn't there a chance to pull a card there and like or something? Like,
no, I think that was the rest of
talking about
the deck, wasn't it? It was just that like he pulled it from that deck, I think.
Oh yeah, he still had because
the rest of the deck was there.
Yeah. In my head, I was like, Roland would totally do this, but Roland had just gotten his PP smack then too, so he was kind of like reserved and is like, maybe not.
Yep. I
remember we did a just for fun rolls, and it would have been quite awesome if I remember correctly.
Oh my god! I think it cracks me up because some of them, like from the deck of many things. Okay, I'm getting mixed up with the actual.
Yes. The actual thing is called the deck of many things.
Okay.
There's also a product called the deck of many things.
Exactly.
Like the lenticular cards or whatever.
Exactly. And they look amazing. I fucking want them so badly.
Yeah. I got Poopa one, didn't I?
You did. I think you got him some of the cantrips.
Cantrips, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So I love that stupid deck so much. I think it's such a cool idea, but it's so fucking scary. And the levels of danger fly all over the place because you can have something that's like you're gonna die, or it could be like you got a level 4 knight who just shows up and is like, "What's up? What can I do?" Like it just kind of goes all over the place, and it can either be like relatively harmless or like world ending.
Yeah, I would only give it to higher level people. I think lower level you can absolutely annihilate a campaign with one item, but at least at higher levels you have either contacts that are higher than you or the ability to like gain favor or reverse it with your own power eventually. I think the biggest one that I'd really worry about is the alignment flip.
Yes.
Because like if Tyrael pulled that card and it flipped him, like Oath Shattered, the whole 9, like just, and I don't know if Poopa would even play that. I think that would ruin the character for Poopa right then and there, and that's not what I want, right? It's
right. Yeah.
There's always a risk in terms of what's going on with it, but yeah.
Scary, Nanners.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is.
And all of that is to say, like, I pulled that. Oh my god, this was so pre-recording. This was really early. It was one of the first fights with Tabra that we had. Yep,
it was after the first. Actually, it was after the last one.
Yeah,
because that's when you got into his library.
Right, not the last one.
Well, yeah, sorry.
Because we had, I was like, no,
yeah, no, you had like 5 fights with him. So it was at the last one in his ship.
We fought him twice in the ship?
You fought him twice in the ship. Once you like immediately betrayed him in the same room with the Elder Brain.
That was in the same ship?
It was. And then he ended up reconstituting himself.
I do remember the betrayal because Revia was like,
Yeah.
he promised you. I didn't say shit.
Yeah, he reconstituted himself.
Mhm.
And then you fought him later on the way out, I believe.
Yes.
And that's when you realized that's when he had the key. He had an awesome save to like catch the key or whatever, so it didn't go back to the Umbral Court. And you stumbled upon his library after that.
Yeah,
Yep.
We've had a lot of fights with Tobber, and he's finally dead.
Yep, 4 or 5. I think it's. 4.
I think it was 5 altogether.
5. Oh, because he fought him in Waterdeep too. Yes. So, yep.
We fought him many
That
times.
bitch.
And I feel like he was growing every time we fought him. He was getting like a little taller every time. And then he wasn't super tall, but he had 2 of them. So I feel like if you stacked them on top of each other, then they'd be still the tallest.
Hey, but he still didn't have a 40-foot wide mouth, so he had that guy.
That was like full cheese moment. Oh my god! Again, speaking of recent things that have happened, we fought some lady and she did a breath weapon, and then it said it wasn't cone shaped. So he said it was like a 30-foot line, but it was coming out of her mouth. So we're like, you're telling me she got a 30-foot wide mouth?
I was picturing like the Shin Godzilla thing, but they were just like the mouth is just 40 foot wide. Like it's just.
Because we were also like Planty and I were using the line tools on the map, so like it was like square coming out.
It's great. I made a meme. It was the Canadian South Park version, just with the mouth like
Yeah. Oh my god, dude, that was
awesome.
And like that is also part of the like shenanigans that are constantly thrown at the DMs, I think, especially on this channel. So thank you so much for dealing with our shit.
Oh yeah, I love it. It's great. It's
when it always comes down to it, like we'll fight real hard, but the second the DM's like, no, that's what it is, we're like, all right.
That's true, but sometimes it's also good to be challenged too, right? I think it's important that you guys have a voice and can do that, whether in jest or not.
Right.
I think that's part of our relationship, and I would hate to have that go. So, no, bring it on.
Super.
Well, that's part of the fun too, right? Like hell, even on my campaign, there's been things that happen, like, and I am by means no expert, but like what? I don't know. Like, yes, I guess. I didn't think about this.
In the one shot, I remember when I think we had to like dig in a different direction, and like I was digging, and I was like, I'm literally like, if the hole's like this, I'm literally hopping in and going in the opposite direction. And I think I rolled like a D8 to find out, and then I wound up like doubling back, and I was like, no, Flanny, I don't think you heard me. I was just going. How did I turn around? But like, whatever you decide is like, I'm gonna go along with it. But there's gonna be a moment where I'm like, wait a minute. And that's the fun. That's the fun of it, I think.
Yep. And sometimes you have to do stuff like that because you're trying to run a one shot and your characters are trying to fucking figure out the quality of life.
We're running a heist in the middle of
Oh my god! And then, speaking of just like one shots and timing, it was in like the second episode of the City Watch, but I was dying when Joe was like, "I'm gonna walk towards the door," and like Nenna's just trying to do a 2-shot. They were like thinking about something, but he was like, "I'm just gonna get in there." Like I was cracking up, and like I think I remember I was multitasking at the time, so I think I was like in the kitchen just like doing dishes or something, and that line hit me, and I just burst out laughing.
Yeah. It's so I love how inquisitive everybody is, right? You give them an environment and they're playing with everything, right? They got all the toys in the sandbox, they're throwing them out of the sandbox, and throwing them back in. It's great. I just sometimes when you're like, I don't want to push that, right? If you guys are RPing, like that's golden to me for the most part. But I guess you gotta get to a point where you're just like, okay, guys, get to the door.
Yeah.
But I told you my next one is gonna be like a room, and then the boss is in the next room.
Yep. I also want to put together a few like pickup one shots where like it's like one page of information, and like whoever, like if we have a bunch of people who are together at that time, we hop in the room, we all roll a d20, and like based on the rolls, that's what rolls everyone gets. So like someone is
like
DM.
Improv.
Yeah, someone's a DM, and then like the rest of the characters are just chosen based off that, and it's really, really quick. It like literally the one page of information, everything's already there. So I think the chaos of it will be hilarious. Just like seeing how everyone reacts to it would be fun too. But lots of stupid things that we could get done. Anyway, this all stemmed from me saying that I wanted to talk about Legacy. And how cool that was. I'm still really nervous to see what's going to happen from there.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. That's my line that I'm going to say for difficult terrain. Everything's fine. You guys are fine.
No, everything is not fine.
Everything's
We were
fine.
just rested in our own
we can
home,
talk about difficult terrain.
and we was getting attacked.
It's really just you should rename it to Trauma Train because that's what it is. It's just that's what the whole situation is.
Fine.
But if Valen wasn't paranoid before,
Oh no.
Yeah.
you guys are fucked. You're all getting tied into a room together. There's gonna be alarms spell all over the place. Yeah, it's gonna be like next level shit.
I could hear it at the end of that fight when you were like, "No one sleeps alone." I was like, "Oh no, Valen has."
Yep. I'm going right to Kadirko. Whatever the largest summoning creature scrolls she has, I'm buying all of them. Anybody pops up on us, I'm gonna freaking just summon like 4 guys. Go get them.
I know shit have like a paragraph of notes of things that we need to talk about and discuss and do based off this intrusion in our home. Lucy, you're not allowed to sleep no more. I know you don't need it, and I know you just like to do it just because you're bored, but I need you to be on watch.
All the time.
Yes. We're
Between
like,
you and Uncle Roll, or fucking Valen, one of the Lens.
one of us.
Yeah.
We're gonna have our house and security, and once I hit 13, we're gonna have the Magnificent Mansion, and then inside the Magnificent Mansion, I'm gonna have a sphere with Liamon's hut, and I'm gonna shove fucking Kadrono in there. Good luck finding him now, bitch.
The best part is there's gonna have to be multiple tiny huts within the mansion, so you're like, figure out which one it is today, bitch. You only get one guess.
Oh, God.
They all detonate for 100 D100 damage.
They're just filled with explosives. Oh, God.
I love that. That's amazing. Actually, I think it was Vogley who kind of accidentally might have stumbled on like how he got in. I don't think she knew it. Like she was kind of saying something, and I was like, "Ooh." I don't know if she knows, but she's on it in a way. So I was like, that's interesting. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, Ryland's just like.
But also lots of clutch fucking moments, and I was so fucking proud of the whole group. Like even Kodrono with his stupid performance check, because he would have dropped him in that round, and then he would have been like he would have been running from that round. So like if he didn't even get that opportunity to do that, like it was like clutch from start to finish. Even though there were many moments where it was like, fuck, my whole turn is gone. Like, it's still, I don't know, it was still very intense and good to watch.
There was a lot of good stuff going on in that, and that like as a DM, like setting that stage and setting up the sequence of events, I think it was the right balance of like, I say this in just bullshit, and the right balance of you can do something about it. I don't think it was necessarily like, fuck you, it's happening, bye.
No.
I appreciate that it was. I'm glad that we did what we did the session before and passed out all the items and made sure everybody had everything was hunky dory.
Mm-hmm.
I think that no shit saved the team. But it was so beautifully paralyzing at the start because you're just like, I can't do anything. This sucks. Oh my god, how am I gonna wake up? I don't know this yet. I just need to stop. Oh, and I find it like it should really be an award. If we should start making awards for each other. And Foos, you definitely have the trauma award now because you had poor Vogley stress burping. You had me stress eating fries. I don't know what you had Nenners doing, but
I was stress drinking.
Everybody in the call, stress drinking. That's at least some people call it alcoholism. Nenners, you probably
Oh my god!
At least everybody had some tick that was going on because of how high the tensions were, and just like, except for fucking the one who was getting murdered, he was.
Yeah, well, over time, initially, like he was mumbling a lot when I was like, because I'm there and I could hear him. So like, he was definitely like, "Oh shit."
We need to get that boy a lapel mic because it's like you got to shout. Or get you both lapel mics.
That's the thing. I am thinking of getting different mics for both of us.
Or just tape the blue snowball. Just tape it to his chest.
Because the thing is, like, I want something that's like possibly wireless for him, so that he doesn't have to like, because look, he passes out, right? So I don't want him to have to be like.
You need a remote for it so you can turn it off.
Yeah, maybe
there you go.
Yeah. If anyone has any suggestions for this kind of mic, because the problem is that Dubs and I are in the same room, so if we have two mics, I'm a loud person. I'm gonna come through on both. We're trying not to let that happen, but we want the quiet.
I mean, you have other rooms. You could just send him to the gaming room.
No, but he likes the couch.
Sounds like you're going to the gaming room.
But yeah, like, maybe at some point we would. But also, like, we hand each other things and stuff, so like it would be.
Look, I get it. I'm not trying to break up the dynamic.
You're good. You're good. No worries. But yeah, I do remember everyone was.
What if you got one of those shame boxes, like what they put the politicians in COVID when they didn't want to get masks, and they just had like the plexiglass shame box? Dude, that shit was hilarious.
It was hilarious, but I'm not putting my husband in the shame box. How dare you?
I promise to love you forever and always, but get in the box of shame while we D&D.
Get in there. No.
Oh, man.
But speaking of like the stress and the people reacting differently, I had a lot to keep track of, so I wasn't able to like watch everyone as intensely as I normally would. But I do remember like seeing the very stark differences of like the way you guys were reacting to it between like Flandy and Vogley. Because the two of you were in the house and didn't know yet. And Flandy was very much like, I could see it, and then I could just see the like, you just have to let it go. Find your zen. You don't know what's happening yet. So just kind of like, just find your mind palace and sit there until you can figure out what you're doing. So like, and I could see that on your face. And then Vogley instead, every second she got, I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. Do I hear anything? It's like, here you can see the passive person waiting for their chance to get in. And here's the active person who's like, let me find out what the fuck is going on.
Oh, man. I think, like, what really, because initially I was like, I had to reel myself out of that and, like, again, get into that proper role play stance, because I'm like, all right, so that's a silence of some sort. So it can't reach the whole room. And there was a little bit of cheese about, what about the wall? Is it spherical? It's got to be bouncing around that bitch somehow, right? And like, as I'm doing that, I'm like, this is fun, but I need to reel it in. And just, all right, everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Who's mean, but she ain't that mean, and not give us a chance.
Of course. Yeah. No. I'm always going to give you a chance.
But it's difficult. And again, it just adds that layer of fun. And then subsequently stress, because you're just like, oh, I want to do so many things, but I can't. Even like, there was a point where I was like, all right, would Ryland burn everything that he can to make it down apparently a long ass fucking hallway? I can't make it down the hallway in 6 seconds. Apparently that's how long this bitch is.
It's a big place. Yeah.
I was like, would he have the mindset to know to do all of that stuff based off of a message from Valen? Help. And I think because of what we've done in the past, I think what he did was in line, but it's still like, you have to have that conversation as not only a player, but probably a DM as well. It's just like, would they do this?
I think that you did Ryland justice, honestly. I think like Ryland is one to pull out all the stops, but only when he knows this is the time. You know, so like, so in like the limited information that you had, I think you did exactly what he would have done. I think you nailed it, which I imagine was not easy to do. But
the best part is everybody, like, I think it was Maya that was talking the most shit. Is like, yeah, let's burn all your damn spell slots. I'm like, yeah, we're going home to sleep. And like, as soon as everything kicked off, I was like, oh my god, I only have like 2, maybe 1 level 1 slot.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was the thing, like because again, this was on a timer, so like that particular event was going to happen that session. I knew it was going to happen that session. Also based on like what you guys were doing and whatever, but I was like, it's happening. So like, I know Valen was mostly using cantrips for all like the shenanigans. There were a few like level 1s, or like I think there was a level 4 with a spear or something. Yeah, but otherwise you were pretty good. And I was like, all right, that's that's probably going to be good. Especially in my usual, like, what's everyone doing? Where are you guys going? Where are you heading? What's going on? Because Valen doesn't need to sleep. So I was like, yeah, that's going to be huge. As per usual. If for some reason you were doing something outside of that room, I fully expected Rusi to be the one to kind of be like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
And then have to like wake everyone else up, or Oryx, depending on what you had him doing at the time. But yeah, that was how
Yeah.
to watch play out.
I think Rylan would know that Valen doesn't ask for help unless he beyond needs it, right? Like he doesn't ask for help when he should ask for help. Yeah. I think that's part of like their
in the middle of the night.
Yeah. So for him to be like, "We need help," is like, "Oh shit, the house is a bit on fire." Yep. He's trying to put it out, can't, and he needs me to help. Right? Like, it's. I had the idea I had for it, and I was slowed down by my own habits. I was like, man, the perfect solution now is to throw him in the bag. But I already have a body in the bag. I don't have enough time to dump that body and then put Kadrono in the bag.
Oh.
You realize that means that Valen would have to remember every 10 minutes to open that bitch up to give him some air.
Well, no, I mean just for the fight proper. Like he's going after Kadrono. Oh, okay. I turn him into a turtle or something and just throw him in the bag. And now I'm ready.
I imagine the Colonel Kadrono is unnecessarily muscular too. just a jack turtle.
You just see a turtle beak start poking its way out of the bag. It's just chewing its way out.
The thing is, I didn't know if I could survive his full onslaught to start dimension door spamming around the house. Because I was going to be like, take him, throw him in the bag. I have to maintain concentration, and then bamf out, essentially.
Hard.
There was so many things that are like not having our armor or weapons on, like damn near killed us, and like I forgot a couple times, and I thought I was doing very well. Then like just the heat of the moment again, that stress. You're like, oh yeah, I used my new. Fuck.
Which turned into like 5 minutes of Ned was just yelling at me.
You can totally sleep with a belt on. There's nothing. You can get like a girdle. People sleep with it on for their waistlines and shit. Like it's a thing.
That's what...
worried about people's waist. Also, it's not that kind of belt.
That's the best part about this crew, though. Like it's a good crew, and like it's the love and friendship when your own teammates are arguing for you to have something for like minutes, and like you're just sitting there, guys, I already know what I want to do instead. Guys, it's okay.
Yeah, it was Flandy who was like, "You guys, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We're gonna move on."
You tell me none of those wrestlers went to sleep with their championship belt on, Foos?
I don't know, but that might be an argument from now on, right? It's probably like, and it's funny too. I remember us having that conversation a previous time where like, are you falling asleep? It was like, yeah, Rylan's gonna wear everything. It's like, I don't think you realize how like not restful that is. It's like,
I think the best part about that argument is you're saying this to a party with two veterans in there, like who sleep in their shit all the time. Not all the time, but I've had to do it. They know how bad.
In my own home, I just kid up and go to bed. It's what I do. It's real hard out there. You never know.
You have to do that. I mean, make sure it's clean. Obviously, do that one time and just surprise your spouse. Just like, what the fuck?
What are you doing? Got to be prepared.
Just full kit up, except your boots, obviously.
No, you gotta have those. Those take the longest to put on, man.
Someone has to explain that to Ben when he's like,
"Oh god,
what the hell happened?"
Dude, oh my god, dude, the look
with my sidearm in the holster.
I just want to see the look on his face.
Yeah.
Oh god, that'd be priceless. Anyway, spousal torture aside,
amazing. Oh my god, I don't remember if it's an official rule, but I think you do get a point of exhaustion if you sleep in your armor. If I remember correctly, I could totally be bullshit, but like
I could definitely see that for something, especially like heavy armor, like
for plate mail.
Yeah, there's times where like that's not gonna be restful. Like, yeah, you can sleep, but you're not gonna have a good time. You're gonna have that ache in your neck, like, and that's why, like, the first time it came up, it was like, all right, you onto something. I don't like it, but you onto something.
I know. I remember you saying that. You were like, "Why were you asking what we were doing before we were going to bed?" Which I think I do most of the time, like, just to make sure that everyone gets a chance to do whatever they want. Because especially with like Maya or something, like Irene might be trying to check in on her Phoenix or whatever. So I'm like, if there's any bedtime ritual your character has, I'm going to give you that opportunity. But yeah, for this, Flandy was like, why?
I do remember for the last session's play, when you were talking about what room was Cadrona's, like, in the back of my head, it was like, she's up to no good. I was like, nah, she always asks what's going on. My trauma senses were tingling, all right? I just learned that I have those.
I think that's part of the reason why it was more suspicious, was because I was like, what room are you guys in? Or like, where are you going? Because most of the time it's just like, what do you want to do before you go to bed? But this, like, it was also, again, kind of trying to keep things moving too, because I was like, I don't know if you guys want to talk to each other or if you're separating, like, let me know what you guys are doing, essentially. And like, I think that's what it was like. That's suspicious.
Well, the best part is, from now on, you're not going to ask us that because we're all going to be in the same room.
And when you ask us what our bedtime rituals are, it's going to be Valen casting alarm on everybody's body.
Alarm, and he's also we're gonna have to save up and buy what's it called, teleportation circle for the scrolls for it. So worst case scenario, we gotta go.
Oh my god!
Cast that spell and just start eating people through it.
Can you imagine, like, in the middle of that fight, you just like fucking yeet Codrono like back to the Missouri tribe, like in the middle of the night with like his pajamas and bloodstains on his
Oh no! Oh no!
We're getting so close to where we have answers to these kinds of things. Like, once we start getting 7th and I get teleport and stuff like that, then it's like, if this happens, it's just like, grab them, bamf, like, and I could take everybody with me, within reason. So, yeah, it's.
Well, it's so tough, right? Because there's some point where, like, you just can't have an answer for it because there's so much shit. Like, I love it from Valen's perspective. He's like, I can do this. I can have the perfect contingency spell for everything. All I got to do is cast this one thing, and everything's okay. But at the same time, it's like, all right, I got to make sure. Did you walk in with dust on your feet? Because that could be bad guys.
That could be bad guys. Yeah, I think the paranoia. I think it's kind of hilarious. Like, between the two campaigns, I love where like the stress of the characters comes from. I guess because it's very different. Because like, I think Revia's biggest stress right now is like, we gotta save the world. I think Nubs is coming. Are you coming?
We all know her biggest stress right now is that bitch roll.
Is that bitch roll?
Capital R.
It's genuinely like, she's like trying to save the world, and it's just like hilarious like relationship with it, especially because like most of the time the world hasn't treated her very well. But she's trying real hard to save it, and like, I don't think there's like a single ounce of like regret or like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this in her mind, but it's an interesting like situation that she kind of finds herself in. And like, the stress for her is like, we need to make sure that this mission goes correctly. Like, we have a lot of shit on our plate. We got to do it right now. With the preventers in difficult terrain, I feel like we don't know what's happening. There's just bad stuff all the time. Like, it's just like, everywhere we look, something bad is happening. The difference between the like, I know where the stress is coming from versus like, the world is dangerous.
Yeah. It's also nice too, because like, in difficult terrain, I don't think anyone's ever done anything that's like, what the fuck? Like, there's been a couple instances, but for the most part, it's like been some supernatural or some weird shit going on there. We're just like, did that just, what the fuck? Whereas in Legacy, it's like, why you being bad? I know your backstory. Why you being bad?
Yup. Yeah, exactly that. It is. Yeah, it's very different. I feel like Legacy, we have more like clear answers as to where the anger or stress is coming from. Like, there's a very like, this is your fault, or this is that guy, he's a dick, we're gonna kill him. Like, there's a lot more clarity. But DT, you guys you're starting to put things together, but otherwise it's like, there's just a lot of chaos all the time.
Yeah, I think
Oh, go ahead.
No, please. You sound like you were ready to go.
Thanks, Insomnia. We love you.
Insomnia! What's up, man?
Yeah.
Also, sorry, no,
No, I was deferring it back to Flandiferous.
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say I love the difference between the way you two DM things, and it's very nice, like being in both of your campaigns and seeing that and growing up this way is to be able to like try and squeeze it into a little bit of Humblewood as best I can. But on one end, you got Nenner's the Lore Dump Master. He gives you a damn encyclopedia set and is like, why don't you know it yet? The answers are all there.
Yeah. By the way, you got this new school of magic. Here's all the information for it. There you go.
Whereas Foos is like, she gives you the encyclopedia set. They're just not labeled, and you don't know that they belong to the same set. You're just like, wait a minute. Hold up. And you go to the other book, turn to page 57, you're like, aha!
Yeah, that is a fantastic metaphor, and I love it.
Yep.
It's very accurate.
100%.
Yeah, I do think like the nurse is really good about being like, I will give you all the answers in one shot, but those are all the answers. Like you got them. Here you go. Whereas for me, I'm just like, I gave you some clues, like a year and a half ago. I hope you remember it.
Oh man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's crazy too, because like what happened a month ago in the game is literally like 2 to 3 years for us real life, and it's like,
yeah.
I remember something about, I don't remember what exact, but didn't this happen? DM.
That's why I give you guys in checks and stuff like that for like that, because it's just like it's not fair because the human can't possibly remember, right? It's just it's too far.
And some of us are very good at taking notes.
Wait, you're getting better. But yeah, I think it's also tough just because like the timing of everything, because like depending on what is happening, I think in both the campaigns, for example, like this is very intense stuff, so there's not going to be 3 or 4 days where you guys can just dick around. Like you guys are on a timeline, like your characters just don't have that time essentially, and like you're not going to get that space to just kind of do what you want. As terrible as that sounds. What is that? Oh, that's the
timeline you said? Is the to-do list that only has like 4 things checked out?
Yeah.
Yep. Correct. There were a few sort of like desert situations where like a random encounter that you guys were kind of like one and done, which was like a nice kind of contained thing.
Why are you undead?
Oh my god. Yep. That was so glorious.
Well, I like yours. It's fun because like you got one that's like exploratory, and then one that's like, this will come to an end, whether you're there at the end or not is up to you. So it's like 2 different. They ironically share a similar pace where it's like you don't have a ton of downtime to kind of deal with stuff. But yeah, it's very much a okay. Here are the players. Here's what they're doing. Here's this kind of stuff, and the other one is kind of just like we vaguely know what's going on.
We're figuring it out. We got a lot.
Yeah.
I think. In difficult terrain, part of that is just because like everything that you encounter is like a clue, and most of the not most of the time, every time they don't have the full picture either. So like whatever situation that is, like when you run up to them, so it's like again, I'm just getting like a piece from this person who doesn't know everything, or I find some item that has a piece to this thing. It's never like this is clearly what is happening.
What, we still haven't figured out what V dot is yet. We have a better idea of what's going on. We still don't have an answer. We don't know where the fuck all these damn Oni keep coming from, but they just keep popping out of the woodwork apparently with really nasty shit. Like
you're forgetting the biggest one, Flandy.
It's 2 more than normal.
Why is there a baby in the middle of a goddamn ocean?
Rylan doesn't know that yet. And Flandy only knows through, and that was the other thing I wanted to say.
Like, he knows there's an infant there.
He heard the baby. He doesn't know for sure that it is a child. That he like it for me in his mind, like it's like a weird time warp thing maybe, where like he's hearing a baby at some point, and, like he's seeing like the hit, because for him he's reaching into the nature tie there, and it's like, okay, you're showing me your infant self or whatever. It's like that's kind of what he's thinking about.
Gotcha.
So like, and then that what I was saying is like the two of you did an amazing job with your spinoffs. I love it. It provides insight to both campaigns while not like interrupting. And then where I wanted to take that is I fucking loved Anita and Joe. Like, they're the fucking preventers? Man, this should be the fucking like we're two laters, like which is hilarious because I remember when we were picking the name, I was like, we don't really prevent things all that often, but you know, I'll take it, sure. And then hearing that from from the expansion pieces, if you will, like was just a hilarious thought in my mind. I was like, yeah, you're not wrong, but we do stuff.
Like you guys do prevent a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely,
like,
yeah.
And that's I think that's part of the like the pain of that name, because it's like if you prevent it, nobody really knows if you prevent it. So it's like, I guess you did a good job. Don't know. But like, but if any moment you fuck up, then it's like, why didn't you prevent it then? Ha! It's like, well,
which is why I love that whole like situation, how it didn't evolve by any means, but like how it evolved and turned into like
that. Yeah.
And it plays into that perfectly, right? Because it's like, y'all ain't preventing shit. I'm over here cleaning up your mess. What are you talking about? Y'all need some help? I got some pointers for you.
Yup, exactly. And like honestly, that whole situation, that actually if things didn't work out with Task Team M, when you guys got back to the city, you would have had to deal with not only the Mirror Man, because he was on a timer and he was definitely going to do something, but whatever was happening because of that too. At the same time.
Why are there rats everywhere?
There's just rats and stuff. All right, sorry. Nubs needs love. He's here.
Oh, hi Nubs.
Yeah. Hello, Nubs.
There's an empty lap, and he's got to come take it. Okay, there you
go. He's our team NPC, and he's gone.
Yep.
So, Flandy, speaking of campaigns, were you ever thinking of maybe doing a long form with a different set of Humblewood crew, maybe, and seeing where that goes?
Like a secondary campaign?
Perhaps, or maybe even like at some point, maybe a shotgun one where you get like a week or two and we just do like 4 or 5 things continuously.
I'd be down for that. The good news is they should be releasing the second book here soon, and that could be an easy cut to go into that, because I'm by no means as beautifully talented as you two with
get the fuck out of here.
Like I can create shit, but you two do a beautiful job at like pulling shit, not only from other resources, but actually like vetting it out and getting things. Like I need a little bit of structure still. So I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with following a book, but
no, absolutely
I'm not quite there to draft anything up from the wilds, and that might be a good idea.
That I've said to like other like DMs or whatever. I think someone who can like follow an adventure book like is a fucking magician. I know I cannot and probably never will be good at doing that. I'm fucking awful. And like, I know that like a lot of people are like, oh my God, homebrew, you came up with all that in your brain. I'm like, yeah, because I don't have to follow the rules. I'm a bad rule follower most of the time. Like if it's numbers, I got that. You know, if it's the like, you can't walk more than 30 feet in your round. Yeah, I got that. That's fine. That's nice and clear for me. I can get that. No problem. But if they're just like, here's 40 characters that you have to NPC that you didn't create. Here's how they will act. Here's how they will act before the big reveal. Here's how they'll act after the big reveal. You have to remember that. And then anything else, like I'm so impressed by people who run, you know, like whatever adventure is pre-written or whatever well. Not perfectly, because obviously there's no perfect and you know, group switch things up or whatever. But I think it's easier for me at least to improv a situation that I didn't expect the players to do, because I know my world, my city, my NPCs so well because I created them that I know how they're going to react. But the idea of like playing someone else's idea out in an improv setting is so terrifying to me. Like, it is so hard. So I have huge props to those who can.
Yeah, it's because you're immersing yourself in somebody else's vision.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to act naturally, I think, in that regard. For us, the two of us are very much on the same plane. Like, I can't, you know, you give me a box of Legos, I'm not going to build what's on the box. I'm going to build some cool shit of my own. I literally have never done that. And I don't think I ever will. It's just, That's just how my brain works. And I think it's easier, as Fu said, like I intimately know my setting. I know the relationships between all the NPCs because I either wrote them or I incorporated them in a certain way. They have their own motivations. I know more or less what they're going to do for the most part, unless Flanny does some wacky shit. I got to think outside the box for a moment. But at least I have a throughway of, I've got at least like some footprints in the sand of where I can kind of follow and create from there.
Yep.
But yeah,
and also in reference to the reading the adventure and kind of understanding it, like the amount of characters you probably have to understand and know, and like there's always a part of me that feels like I might not be doing you justice, right? Like someone probably did this real good, and obviously like it's interpretation depending on how you do it, but like there's always a part of me that's like, what if I'm fucking this up? Which is why I get very uncomfortable if like a player is absent and I have to pretend to be their character, because in general I know the character, I know them pretty well, but I still feel real embarrassed about like playing a character that's not mine, and like worried. Kind of hungry for cheese now. What's your favorite kind of cheese?
I was just typing that.
What's your favorite kind of cheese? Claybot 2000. That's an awesome name, actually. I kind of like that. Actually,
I will say, like, I understand where y'all are coming from, and I don't know why, but for me, like reading the book, I'm able, like, gives me like a bound to stay within, and I'm able to kind of like, and I don't see it as like I have to play it perfectly to the vision of the writer. Like, I don't think like I kind of put myself, if I was doing that, I would do exactly like, hey, here's an idea. Like, you don't necessarily have to follow it, but this is the general premise, and you can add your stuff in here and there.
Yeah.
I get more nervous. What the second part of what you said is when I'm taking over someone else's character to help them out or whatever. You're just like, ooh, I don't want to do you because this is yours. This is you. And I know I'd be upset if someone made Rylan pick his nose in public because he would never like, wild like that, right? And I think it showed when I was taking over Gummy. I don't remember how we said his name.
Zummy.
Gummy.
Gummy
was
the too. Yep.
Yeah. But I was like, oh, I don't want to mess up his character. Let me watch this real quick on double time speed so I can get through it really fast. Okay, I think I got it down. All right, we should be good. Hopefully things go well.
Yep.
You nailed it. You absolutely nailed the spirit of the character. I was very impressed.
Yes, you did.
Because he was coming from a very Kurt is anything but cliche, right? He's going to make his own thing, and it's going to be his own thing. So there's not a lot like, oh, it's Marlon Brando and whatever. Like, no, it is a unique situation. So I was very proud of you when you did that. It's very easy to bounce off of you because that's very much the dynamic of Argos and Zummy.
Yeah, and I think it helped too being in the initial
Session
zero.
Yeah,
being able to hear some of it and go into it, but no, that's I think for me, I didn't grow up doing stuff like this, so I'm not as familiar with it. And I remember the first time that it like really hit me, obviously like being thrown into it with Foos, as you've said numerous times, like was able to hit the ground running. But I think the first time that I was like really like on my tippy toes, like, oh shit, was when I was playing my Dumbarian. And if we started going to the backstory, I'm like, I don't know, I didn't think of the effects. Hold on, let's see.
Oh yeah.
All right, this, and then Revive, whose character is like, well, what was his name? How'd he die? Like, what's going on? I was like, I think it's still on the recording. There's a little bit of panic in my eyes. I'm just like, fast. Oh my god, is that a thing to smash? I'll be right back.
Yeah. I think that's part of the problem of Revia's character is like she is very like inquisitive and wants to like dig down. So when she was first meeting him, she was like, "Let me find out about you. What's up? Like, what's your background? What's going on?" But yeah, actually, Claybot said playing in a PC or an NPC you didn't make can help you RP in new ways you didn't expect to. Though.
Absolutely,
100%. We're just so nervous about misrepresenting them that I think that's where our like nerves come from, because it's just like I'm gonna try real hard, but I might fuck up, and be kind. And thankfully, we're playing with friends and family, so it's not
a safe place.
Yeah, we're not really like worried. But I think one thing I love about all of you guys, really, like everyone that we've had the joy of playing with, is that everyone is really invested in the stories. So like more than anything, we want to make sure that like, the story still makes sense and it still is, I don't know, natural, organic, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And I think that's why it gets really hard. But yeah, oh God, and speaking of that kind of stuff, I haven't gotten to our questions at all, which is fine. We're having a great time. I'm not even mad. But I think that it kind of spurs a question of mine, I guess, is was there ever a time where you had to role play something or someone else, like a PC or NPC that maybe wasn't yours or something that you were like very nervous about doing the whole time? I will start. It wasn't even something that wasn't mine. But Rylan and Roland's dad, Chege, I wanted to have a slight southern drawl, and I was gonna do it, but for those who don't know, Flandy's a southern boy, and I'm from New Jersey. So obviously I'm not naturally around those accents. And I was going to try it, but like I think I said like 2 words. And then I looked at Flandy's face, who was being very nice. There was nothing wrong with your face. You were just happily enjoying what was going on. And my brain went, abort! and then he never had an accent for the rest. But if you look at my detailed like description of the character, like my DM notes, that character is supposed to have a slight southern drawl. But I wimped out, and I haven't found the strength to go do it again.
I'm so sad you didn't. I would love to see that. I think that would be amazing.
I think I will eventually, but oh my God. When it happened, I jumped off that boat so fast. I'll drown! Don't let me on!
I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm so scared. Oh God, yeah, that was hilarious.
Completely side note derailing almost. I remembered that you said that we could print our character sheets now.
Yes.
On Roll20, and I was just curious. Guess how many pages Roland's character sheet turned out to be?
Oh my God. Oh no. I'm gonna say a conservative
6.
No, I was gonna say conservative like 10. Probably more than that though. 15. 20.
24.
Oh God. Dude, you need a manual to play this character.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's like
it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
I think that's why I was so hype. The last fight we did, I was like, no, shut up, I got this. He's gonna do this, and then he's gonna do this, and then he's gonna do some of those. I know I normally take long turns, but fuck you, I've been thinking of this and I got it. And then he's gonna do one of these and take that, and there's fuck you, and that's my turn. Mic drop.
It was amazing.
Oh God, yeah. It's I think part of the problem, I think, for you, and you, as you said, you didn't grow up with this, so you look at these spells and you're not inherently familiar as we are, right? Like I see a spell list, I'm like, okay, I know what 80% of this is, and then the extra 20 I can just skim real quick, or out of that 20%, maybe 5 is viable. So it's not even like I have to read all of them anyway. But yeah, I feel so bad for you sometimes, but the other times of it though is like, you can make huge impacts on the battlefield, if and when applied correctly, right? If you have a roll go your way, and I ain't gonna save out of shit, so you just got to pick the right spell, and we're good.
I think my favorite moment of that was the giant centipede mix-up.
Oh my God! The whole time you were saying that, I was like, I don't think he knows.
I think that was the best. The way you broke that ice, like it was one of those like, you're being dumb, but I'm gonna let you down gently because I understand you don't understand this. But you didn't say like, this isn't as powerful as you think it is. It's like it was a very simple like, hey, you realize that thing only has like 5 hit points, and I was like, and it was so beautiful because it put it in such a way. I was like, oh, it only has 5. Oh, that means it probably hits for like 1d2. Yep, that's 1d2. Fuck.
Yeah, just that one detail is enough to be like, oh, that's not what we need right now.
That fight is one of my favorites for you guys because it like the humor going into it, right? The betrayal, the you handling these scumbag prisoners that you kind of wanted to kill and kind of wanted to not.
Yeah, describe the storyline for us, Netters, and why it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They were, oh boy, this is a lot of story. Where do I start?
As simplified as you can, of course.
Okay, so they were on a mission from the Nexels to find a god shard, basically, and it's kind of like this mirror that allows them to kind of transverse time and potentially resurrect their god, who wasn't not resurrect, but like unimprisoned him, free him from whatever prison that he was in. They found out that it was being held by this herald of a Klex Hive queen, essentially, and they were doing some kind of nefarious things in the jungle. We'll just say for now, using the kind of local populace and had infected some of them, blah blah blah. And Roland had gotten into a verbal agreement where he was going to assist with an issue, and then come back, and then the shard would be his, more or less. So.
And they were going to fuck off and stop slavery.
And right, that too. So that they were they already had a solution in play, right? All they had to do was do this couple thing, and there was an extra bonus if you killed Cardoon, right? If that was the case, you can get more on top of that. Who was our who's a gold dragon friend? Anyway,
was he our friend yet? I don't think he was our friend.
Not yet. You guys didn't know him like that yet, at least.
He became our friend.
No, you're right.
Yeah. So dealing with that. At some point, Revia hears the plan, which involves, I think, was it killing the captives? I can't remember. I think he wanted them back, I think.
Yeah, I think we had to bring him back.
You had to bring him back. And Revia didn't want that to happen for whatever reason, even though she hated those guys anyway. So her plan was like, yeah, why don't you just go back and tell him no with your sword? Basically just stab him, kill him, and go from there. Right. Now, this guy isn't a pushover. He's a herald of like even if you kill this guy, you've made an enemy, right? Even among insects, you don't kill the fucking messenger, right? So all that out of the way. Not to mention, this person is within like a complex with tons of NPCs, right? Fighting him outright is an enormous risk. There's like 30 other NPCs. It was to the point where like if Maya didn't do that, I didn't know how combat was going to go. So I was going to have to move like 40 fucking guys into that room, and it was going to be a nightmare. So I was really happy she did the wall of stone or whatever. But anywho, so all of that essentially being down, Maya puts up the wall of stone and just blocks the entry. So it's just you guys and the herald about to throw down. And I'm getting this fight ready, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, how long does this little thing last? What's he going to do first? Because he had a whole bunch of options, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Nenes, are there any wasps, bees, centipedes? I was like, what? Completely like just ripcorded me out of my thought process.
Oh my god!
Which fighting normally does, to be fair. Yeah. And I'm looking around like, yeah, I mean, they're in a jungle. Yeah, there's probably some centipedes.
Like, that's exactly how that conversation started. So Nenners, being a good DM, is like, let me answer your question. Which obviously Flandy didn't say, I'm trying to make some giant centipedes out in this bitch. He's instead just like asking, are there centipedes around here? And Nenners is like, you're in jungle. Yeah, I'm sure there's centipedes around. What do you mean? And then like the more he keeps going, the more I'm like, I know what he's doing, and I don't think he knows what he's doing. So like this stupid conversation about centipedes in a jungle goes on for like 5-ish minutes before I'm like, guys, hold on. You're taking a lot of time to summon a creature that has 4 hit points.
It was so beautiful. It was a beautiful disaster.
That was fun. That was good.
Yeah.
But to answer Fooz's question from 20 minutes ago,
pretty
much any time I have to do a female character, I don't know if I feel nervous. It's really more like remorse. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not doing you any justice.
Do you just
here we are? Yeah, vocally. I mean, in some cases, like mentally, I can't.
Okay. Yeah,
I have a really hard time getting myself in that space. Now, thankfully, they're all like megalomaniacs in my campaign so far, so it's not that big of a deal.
Oh boy.
But it's like it's tough. Like they're either megalomaniacs or they're like disciplinarians, like Deet is, right? But it's.
And that being said, I think Dee is a great character, and like not just because like, oh, she's fun and she's hanging out with Roland, but like she is kind of like, you fucking doofus, you have the goddamn answer to this. But you know, like there is still sort of like that nurturing kind of like family woman part of her as well, who's like, I'm doing for my family. I'm constantly trying to like help out the situation for those around me and whatever's going on. So like I love what you've done with her as a character, and like not to say that any of your other female characters are not mentionable because they're all great. But no, I mean, if there was any kind of like concern with them, I don't see or feel that it is necessary.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job. In terms of vocally, I understand what you mean in terms of dudes, though, because
I'm not a voice actor. I wish I was. Do not have the talent. I try. Sometimes it falls. Amal was a really hard thing to do too, because I was like, what does an amalgam fucking mation sound like?
That was so good. I think that was before recording too, which makes me mad because that was
yeah.
I loved his voice. I think that was awesome.
Thank you. But yeah, that's essentially what gives me pause.
I think for me, it's not necessarily one specific character. I think it kind of goes back to what you just said, is the voice acting part of it. Because you want to, you want to get in it, and you want to, but like it either turns out to be some super generic voice, or it's like way off from what you were hearing in your head. You're like, that sounds like, obviously it's a self-conscious thing, but it's just like that's not what I meant to sound like at all. We're gonna reel it back to a normal voice, and everything's gonna be fine. Or the opposite, doing the one shot, I had an idea for cracks, like, oh yeah, he's gonna be super throaty, he's like super just like gruff and just like, oh, I'm over this shit. And then fighting alongside our wonderful pirate man was just like, oh, my Flandy's gravitating towards that accent. I need to reel it back, come back.
You got like sucked into the vortex.
Yeah, Joe is so good at getting like these like really like bombastic kind of characters that he will pull you into his whirlpool, and you have to kind of swim against the current to get out. But Clay's got a good question about people playing different ethnicities, I guess. I don't know. The way I see it is, as long as it's like a good, respectful effort, right? I'm fine. If you're gonna do like a Caribbean accent and Rosclot and all this other stuff, great. As long as it's not obviously. And where's the line of offensive? It's very tough to draw.
Yeah.
We do characters who are very, Nordic, or Strahd is clearly Slavic, right? Like it's you do the best you can. You can kind of tell where someone's heart is and how they're doing it. I don't, it's a fantasy game. I don't think race should really play an issue in it, as long as you're not being like belligerent and like. Also, I think how you do it too, right? Yeah. It's if all your villains are Slavic, then like man, what's going on, right?
That war is over, right?
Yeah,
run.
Yeah, there's a lot. So I guess it depends on context, how you do it. It is kind of tricky. Specifically, white playing black, I don't have any issues with it. I mean, if you have an Aunt Jemima character in the kitchen and you could rock it, I rock it, dude. Seriously, okay, that's awesome. Like, I would love to see that. It's from my perspective, it's as long as you're doing it in as like reasonably tasteful and respectful, and that goes for everything, right? It's not specific like white, black, whatever.
That's the other thing I was gonna say. I think a lot of times if you're making the character based off of something like that, if you're like, my character is this character because they are Latino or because they are Asian or something, I think you have to be a little more careful and thoughtful with what you're going to do. Not that you can't, but just be a little more thoughtful about it. If it's like, I have this character in mind and they're like a jerk face or something and they happen to be black, like I don't give a shit. Like obviously like there's more about that character than whatever race or ethnicity they are. And I think that's such an interesting question, I guess, also for us as a group, because
we're
like,
hodgepodge.
We're such a fucking hodgepodge. Like Vogley, the full white person, is a minority on this channel. Like everyone else has like something, like some kind of ethnicity that's other than like Caucasian for the most part. And not only that, but like almost none of our characters reflect that, like very clearly at least. Almost nobody plays a human. Almost like there are no like elves, dwarves really like throughout the ranks. So for the most part, it's like, yeah, I'm green skinned, he's blue. Like it's like it's almost like it's not necessarily identifiable immediately. And actually, considering that as well, Flandy is playing a tribe that I made based off of Kikuyu and African Kenyan lore, essentially. And because he was newer, he was like, I guess I could be a part of that because I don't have any idea of like where my character's coming from. So that way I was like, here's all the information. So in a way, he's playing a character that's from like an African culture without looking black. Obviously, he's a furball, so he's blue. So like in a weird way, we almost kind of have that right now. Like strangely enough. So like, you know, long story short, we're good. Just be respectful and
also depends on how well you could, if you're gonna do. So for example, I would love to have like some French characters in my campaigns at some point. I cannot do a French accent without sounding racist. Cannot.
Right.
I know, I'll try it. If anyone hopped in, they're like, yo, this dude's out of pocket. And like I get that. I know that. So part of it, I think, is also knowing your boundaries, right? Like, I can't do that. I don't think I can do an Asian one without sounding horrifically racist as well. So it's like, yeah, I might want to do one, but like, if you can't pull it off, right? Like, you're not going to be able to, you know.
Yeah. It's also just the culture appropriation thing, right? Like, if you're pulling on that just because you want to be that like culture, then that's a little problematic. Then again, if there's more that goes into it, if it's like, you know, you've taken some heart to go and like think about how you're going to present them, it's all good. Oh, I'm sorry. I tapped Nubs and he didn't even fucking flinch. So I apologize for nothing. Did you find any of the Tomb of Annihilation? Actually, I have not touched that at all, the Tomb of Annihilation. I don't think any of us have really.
I have, because in making Mastika and stuff like that, I had to kind of delve into like what was going on in like jungle regions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I kind of touched on it lightly. I don't remember if there's anything overtly like. I mean, but you're talking like more like a colonizer versus the natives kind of situation.
Yeah, Nanners is literally the only person who could speak.
Yeah, I was just going like, what kind of cool monsters are here, and what are their relationships? Like, I really wasn't going for like geopolitics and stuff like that. So I don't remember. If you want to give me like a crash course, I'll do my best to answer it. But I mean, as horrible as this is about to say, I use slavery in my campaigns. I use relatively dark stuff in there. It's what people would do, right? Human history is littered with it. Anytime something needs to get built rapidly, like the World Cup has just used it. And I'm not obviously defending it as a practice, but it's something that happens. We don't typically.
It's also, just to kind of clear up that like slavery thing too, it's also like Duergar and Mind Flayer slavery. It's not it's not like, you're a different ethnicity than me. You're not slave. Like it's in the storylines that are also established.
Goblins wearing wooden Pacific. Oh yeah, no, that's fine. It's whatever your culture is. You know what I mean? A goblin can be from an islander culture. I don't see why that would be any different than like you can't culturally appropriate something in like a fantasy setting. Right, because that culture doesn't technically exist, right? So it's like,
I think the only problem that like I can see that I don't know the whole story, so like if I'm obviously way off, fucking correct me, please. But I can see that being a problem where it's like if the only enemies in there that are dressed like that or represent that culture are the goblins who have that, and then like everyone else are all whites and Slavics, and they're like they're the bad guys, like. That could be a problem, but I don't know if that's the case, and I have no idea.
Yeah. I think by and large it was a very kind of.
Did they get some blowback from the Spelljammer for one race? Oh, I did hear about that. I think. Oh, I don't remember.
Couldn't be the Amoeboids. Those guys were dope.
Oh my God. I know. Like, it looks so cool.
I'll be honest with you, Clay. We're typically not that political about stuff, and if we're taking from D&D, we'll just pull something we like. I'm really more concerned with like where D&D 1 is going and like how they're going to deal with content and stuff like that. I expect there to be some slight mistakes socially. I think Hasbro, for the most part, has been pretty good about stuff. I think Tasha's really kind of blew the doors open on any kind of race changing stats, all that stuff. No, it's cool. I'm not by no means trying to just like. We're not very trigger happy when it comes to that kind of thing. It's you just try to make things make sense, within reason, and and try to be as respectful as possible within the sphere. And pretty good.
I think also, if like our group of friends that we play with, we're all so close that we all like know each other so well that like even if there is anything that we're like that might have been weird, not even from like a racial perspective, but like in general, we'll always talk about it and kind of clear it up. And I think that's also like a huge thing that has to always be like important at tables, I guess, is like the communication. If there's ever anything that's like that was a little handled strangely, or I don't know if you're hitting the note that you wanted to hit, so let's talk about it. Things like that. But
the monkey, the flying monkeys. That's I think what he's talking about. Because there was like, yeah, they were like brown flying monkeys that had like a past with being slaves and stuff like that. I don't know, man. I don't know enough. Some people get like, look, man. At some point, some ethnic group somewhere was abused by somebody else, right? Like that's unfortunately how this world works. You can't be hypersensitive about things. I mean, if there were a bunch of like flying monkeys named Jamal and Tyrone and stuff like that, like, you're clearly like fucking crossing a line, right? But it's just like it's fantasy. It is what it is.
I think again, like they have other races, like the Githyanki were slaves for years, and like things like that. Like it kind of goes all over the place. But as Clay was saying, I did once play a gay character as a straight person. Of course, tried to play him as a swashbuckler who just happened to like boys. Exactly, that's the thing, right? Like I think when it comes down to it, like people are people, right? Like whatever maybe minority thing that they have, they're still a person, right? So like there's still that like that swashbuckler that you were playing. That's like whatever. They just happen to like boys or whatever it is. I think you approached it in the correct way, which is like I just played it like this, who just happens to like this, and that's all.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just the intent. Like, what is the intent? And usually you can tell, right? If you're, I actually applauded like branching out and trying different things, even if you're not part of that or whatever it may be, whether it's a personal life choice or whether it's a physical, choice. It's a form of representation, and if you do it well, and you do it well, not even well, but if you try, the right way, like you're only helping bring knowledge to that, specific thing, right? Whereas if you just go in there and like, for me, if I kind of like would notice that if I was doing a French character, I would probably go into ho, and I know that, so I'm not gonna do that because like my brain's just like French. That means ho, like that's. Those two are locked together, and I wouldn't do it justice by doing that, so I don't do something like that. And I think for the most part, I have never seen anyone like specifically go out of their way to be like, no, we're gonna be a fucking turd nugget about this. Here we go.
yeah, and I think a lot of times, even if there's something that we definitely wanted to do, I think that we would put time into it. Like I know if I 100% was like, I'm gonna do this southern drawl, I'm gonna Chege is gonna have that damn southern drawl. Like I know myself, I have YouTube videos like bookmarked as into like how to do draws and like not be offensive and stuff. I'm gonna do my research before I get into it. So like, and it's exactly as Flanny was saying, right? Like the intent that goes into it. So like just make sure.
I really want to send you a southern sitcom now and have you watch it just to see what happens with the southern.
Please do that. I would love to.
But I want to stream of you watching it so I could hear all the like, what the fuck kind of tradition is? What are they? Why are they? What is going on? Why is this normal?
The TM wasn't letting us. A lot of situations just made a joke. Yeah, I mean, if your TM's kind of immature and not down with it, it's just that's just a bad situation. I don't know how you can really salvage that if the DM's being kind of like passive aggressive or just joking with it. You might just scrap the character or like make his non-gay twin brother or something hop in and then just kind of stop. If you need to stay in the situation. If not, I would just leave. But exactly. It's there's a lot of bumps. I don't know if he's like your friend or your bro or whatever. Like there's a lot, I understand there's some social complexities of just leaving a game, but it's tough. Some people are just people. They're gonna have biases and they're gonna take that into whatever they do.
I mean, the other thing with us, which I also thought was like super interesting, I guess, about our group, is that like our characters are like, we have 0 horn dogs across like all of the games that we play. There's not like a single character who's like, I'm trying to get laid tonight. All right, do you understand? That's the only reason why I'm here.
We had one. His name was Gummy Berrien,
Oh,
and that was just on a whim. That was just a random whim.
that is correct.
Ah.
Correct. I do remember that.
That fit the Napoleon complex that he had, though. So I'm
It
definitely.
really did.
So
That
a
was
little bit of
great.
backstory. Foos did a one shot that was candy themed, and it was a sugary wonderland, and there was the Savory Kingdom, the what was the Mushroom King, or not Mushroom? Why do I always say Mushroom? Like Marshmallow or some shit? I
Marshmallow.
don't remember.
Yeah. You say Mushroom Kingdom because of Mario. See, I could do it.
I'm so proud of you, Dennis. Oh, A+.
Slowly you said that. Oh
Um,
my god.
but yeah, so one of the very first things that we did is we met this princess or queen, right? She was a queen.
She was a
Honey
queen, yeah.
Dipper, Honey Dripper, Honey something.
Honey
Drop?
I think.
Dewdrop.
Honey drop? I don't remember. I have to go look. Hold on.
Anywho,
Honey.
Yeah.
she had a very pretty it was like honey style, like very pretty token, and I by no means am part of the oh, let's go to the bedroom and make, but my character was a gummy bear. He was a gummy character. He was I don't know, 3 inches tall. He was a barbarian, and in my mind it was just an on the spot oh, this is definitely a character flaw that is going to happen. Yes. So it was love at first sight for him. He was super infatuated and just constantly will you go on a date with me?
Yeah, it was kind of.
And ironically, turned out the whole point of the mission was to help the queen's girlfriend, which I thought was an amazing twist, which made the fact that he went down that road even that much more funnier in my mind. But
it was especially hilarious from a DM's perspective because I was like, she's gonna say no to his advances, but she can't outwardly say why. For many reasons. And one of them is that she wanted to get married to the other queen and they couldn't because she was currently, it was a big thing. Anyway, so there was that kind of problem, and then him on top of it flirting with her, and she was constantly oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you. That was all she was saying.
there.
Oh my god.
Barking up the wrong queen.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the end, it was now we can get married. And I remember hearing, oh, and then Flandy was oh. It was hilarious. Yeah, that's another one of the things that we did before we started streaming or recording. And every time we bring up memories of that, I'm I wish.
Yeah, yep.
But yeah, well, now we are. So we'll have all of these to reference, of course. But yeah, God, that was fucking hilarious. But yeah, in general, I don't think a lot of characters we don't even know sexual orientations, and that's not necessarily because it's not acceptable. We're all adults, we're fine, that's cool. It's just most of the time it's not front.
Hasn't come up.
Hasn't really come up. Also, in both cases, the world's ending, so there's really not a lot of time for
what?
I mean, the world's ending in both cases.
I knew that goddamn Tarrasque is gonna wake up. I fucking called it a year ago.
I mean that in terms of shit's going down.
Oh no, cat's out the bag, Foos. We know that. All right, we go in to investigate this Tarrasque next mission.
Ending. Yeah.
He's on the list.
We gotta be his friend so we could ride him into the battle with the Soul Stealer Dragon.
Also, Dennis, how dare you? That Tarrasque is a lady. Okay, I've told you this before. Her name is the Sleeper, and she's a lady.
Okay.
Also, speaking of representation and stuff, it's actually why probably 65% of my NPCs are female, and it's part of the reason why I think my next character is going to be male, just because I love representing ladies, and I'm constantly trying to represent us because I think it's only kind of now that we're finally getting fucking represented in things like TV and movie and games and stuff, and that's fantastic. But I also kind of, going back to the original, comment that we were talking about from Clay, was that it helps you branch out to play something different.
Understand a different perspective too, if you're really getting into the character.
Yeah, and for this character, the character in general I've had in my mind for a while, I literally just swapped the gender. So everything else is fine and established, and it's and that's also
how much of the male experience are you gonna give? You gonna give him some child support, maybe some alimony? How far are we going?
Oh boy.
He's gonna be burdened with crazy amounts of responsibility.
Is his dad how disappointed is his father?
Oh, his dad disowned him. He doesn't even know.
There you go. Perfect. All right, there you go.
Oh no.
Yeah, no. But in general, like I think it's always good to represent them in different ways. And I think like this is kind of me going off on a bit of a tangent too, in terms of like all my female NPCs and such. Because the other thing that I always get worried about is like so often when there is female representation, it turns into like she's the strongest, she's the smartest in the room, she's the best of the best of the best. And like, yeah, that's cool sometimes. And like even men get that all the time too. Like when James Bond walks into the room, no one's like, he's too strong. Why can he do that? It's just accepted. But like for women, I think the problem is a lot of the representation turns into that, which is kind of a problem too. And like, so like across my lady characters, I do my best to kind of represent their strengths in different ways. Like even Mukami from like Test Team M, and obviously Difficult Terrain in general. Like she's not a fighter. That's just not who she is. She's crafty and she's going to try and help people out the best she can, but she understands the shortcomings. And like so her strength is kind of like in trying to find out other ways to help people and staying positive no matter what kind of crazy stuff is going on. So like that's one of the things that I do also want to like represent, is that like you can be strong without being like, I'm so fucking mighty and I can kill everybody in this room. Like there are other ways to like represent strength, and that's something that I try to do my best with my NPCs across the board. But yeah. Oh, thanks for following.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't agree with all that.
Yeah. My cat is cooking me alive. Oh my god! I'm just gonna take.
So, what's your second question, Foos?
Look at this. Look at this guy. Anyway, actually, the funny thing was that wasn't even my first question. I didn't even get to my first question. We are an hour and 38 minutes.
You did. You asked us who is the hardest character to play.
That wasn't one of my list of questions. It came up because of what we were talking about. Like my like pre-planned questions, haven't touched it.
That's awesome.
Just in case you were wondering. Okay, so first actual question that we were supposed to answer on this 1.5 hour stream, which we've already gone over and haven't answered a single one.
Are you saying we can't one shot of cheese?
Have I mentioned that we're yappers? Like we're very chatty people. But anyway, my very first question was actually, what was a time as a DM where something went horribly wrong according to the plans that you had, but wound up being very fun or entertaining, or something that as a DM you probably had to do a very hard pivot, but you were like, everything worked out, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
To pick one?
You can pick whatever one comes to mind, Anders.
You goddamn psychos. It's like fucking every time. It's like, I'm gonna do it. Nope.
What's the first one that comes to mind for you, Dennis?
Right off the top of my head was the crashing airship above Waterdeep. Because I was like, I barely clearly explained, like, that thing is airborne for a max another 2-3 minutes and it's fucking hitting the ground. You guys like, no, man, let's go see what's on there. It's like,
yeah, we gotta go see what's up. We gotta go. There's some weird shit happening in the city. We gotta go figure out what's going on.
Because there would have been like a really weird tension where you went there, like, obviously it's wrecks and everything, and there's like half dead Klex everywhere, and like, the elves and all that stuff that were also part of that group, and they would have been getting attacked if they survived, and the Celestial with the stuff on. It would have been a very interesting like scene to come up on. And then what are you doing with, let's say you find out what actually happened, the Pegasus Knights are going to be coming in to investigate the crash, right? So now you're going to have to talk them down from whatever ledge. Like there was going to be some diplomacy and all that. Nope. Throw all of that out the window. Take a short break. Get a map going.
Yup.
Put like 90 NPCs on there that you weren't expecting, and let's start a fight. Here we go.
Oh my god!
So
that was the best part is like you genuinely had to like throw a map together.
Yeah,
you were like, "Listen, I didn't expect you to board the flaming, crashing airship. I figured you'd just catch up with it when it landed."
You can fly, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. And that was the best part. Like we had so many solutions for flying. Our Kenku had what was it, like the Herbal Flight? I don't know what it's called.
Cloak of Flying or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Joe. Okay, have fun with your B&B. Thanks for hopping in for a bit. But yeah, he had the Cloak of Wings or whatever. Like he had wings that could pop out. He could fly.
It's just
and then
with a whole bunch of random wings on it, like different creatures and shit.
Yep.
Some of them are bigger than us.
Yep. just various ways of flight. Fine, don't worry
Somehow
about it.
aerodynamically sound.
You have to roll a d20 to find out what direction you go in.
Oh my god! Jesus.
Oh,
Oh god.
So he has that. Reviat used conjure animals to summon 2 giant eagles, if I remember correctly, and then hopped on one and flew up. And then I think Ryland and
Roll 'em.
how did roll him. Hold on.
Rollum and Tyrael. So
Yeah,
Tyrael.
but how did Maya get? Maya was up there, right?
I think Maya was with you.
She was.
I don't remember how.
I think she was on with because that's why I was like, you could fly, right? We got too many people on this bitch.
Yeah. Which okay, also for that storyline or what was going on there, he summons a Quetzalcoatlus, which fine if you could type that in the chat. So if anyone wants to Google that, just look at how
absolutely.
The confusion you hit me in the face with.
Oh, that was so great.
I was like, you can summon a Quetzalcoatl? Like, those things are high tier celestial bitches. I didn't think you had. I mean, you're a Fey little boy. I don't see how this conversation even gets started.
Oh my god. But once Flaney puts that in chat, just Google that.
Oh my god.
I gotta make sure I'm spelling the right one. Because yeah, it was great because it was I knew what he was thinking of. He's like, that thing can carry like 3 pounds. What are you talking about?
Yep.
You want to fly on it?
Yep. So he's on that thing, and he gets our paladin on that as well. And in the middle of that, Rolam, the one who summoned the giant flying Quetzalcoatlus, was like, I'm just gonna warg into my buddy, so I'm not gonna like physically be here. So to do that, the paladin was like just hugging his chest to make sure he didn't like fly off this flying goofy looking bird. And then like after he's done warging, Rolam comes up with an idea, so he like pops there. Oh my god.
There it is.
Oh my god.
What is that thing?
It's so goofy looking. Oh my god. Anyway, so after he pops out of it, the paladin is still hugging him, and he just like pops out of his warg and is like, hey man, you can fly, right? While they're like
300 feet in the air at this point. Yeah.
That
was and you guys were in 2 different parts of the city.
Yes.
So you had that because you could see it going over at the same time.
Yeah.
And you summoned basically a dinosaur.
Yep.
And what is essentially a medieval city.
Well, and even more to that, like there was absolutely no reason why Roland A knows what this is, B has ever seen one before, and our amazing, wonderful Nenners is like, you know what? You do some weird shit. Sure, you've seen one. What the fuck? Because Flandy was like, all right, I can summon creature. What can I summon? I just don't want to summon a giant eagle like Revive because I can't steal her. This is it.
Also, isn't yours like hilariously bigger? Like gigantic? Yeah.
Well, it's an actual like no shit. The reason it came up is because I was looking through D&D shit, and there was an actual like creature, the Quetzalcoatlus, in there, and I was like,
Yeah, I remember. Yep. Like for the giant eagles, they're only large, so like they can carry 2 people max, and even then you're slowing that flight down. But I remember the Quetzalcoatlus were like, that's a big boy. All right, yeah.
I think it's. I don't think it's. I think it's huge.
Huge is big.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the exact size that it has.
I'm looking it up. It's a huge beast. Correct. It's a huge beast dinosaur in parentheses. And this bitch has a flight speed of 80, has a walking speed of 10. It is not meant for land.
No. Amazing.
It's so dumb.
100% amazing.
Oh my god, thank you.
Thanks, Vlad.
I could produce a pet really easily. There's one on my lap, and he is.
Yeah, let's produce that bad boy.
Oh, but he's sleeping. I'm not gonna move him, but there's the key.
Let's produce that good boy. Oh, he's
hanging out, and I don't know if you could tell, but he's on a blanket that's on my lap. So the combined heat is setting me on fire, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna die. But he's having a good time, and that's all that matters.
What if you just put like an ice pack on one of your thighs so that's not close, and just try to see if you can even it out?
I don't know, dude. I'm dying. I'm probably gonna open the window here soon. This is fine. That's me right now. Absolutely. The flames. That's me right now.
You do that, you're gonna kill poor Dubs.
I know that's the problem. because I've always had.
If that drops under 70 degrees, he's gonna go into hypothermia.
Don't I have these pictures?
Anyway, getting back to the question, then as you brought up the flying ship as a moment that
yes,
you as a DM had to do a hard pivot. Was there any other moment? Because that was the first one that popped in.
In Legacy, is hard pivots. I mean, Roland accepting the blood magic thing.
Yeah.
That I thought he was going to say no, mostly due to social pressure.
Right.
Because present company, it was like basically your boss, if you will. D'Artagnan, who's kind of like been your, like, not maybe mentor, but someone who's definitely been helping you along your journey. And to just be like, did you say blood magic? It's like, did you say meth? Let's go. Like, it's just like, it was such a hard like thing. I was like, oh fuck. I definitely didn't have that level of depth ready. Especially for what he was gonna do. So I wanted it on the table, and that's why, like, obviously we did it on the side. So that you can experience that. But yeah, I did not expect you to say yes to that at all.
That was cool.
The other, I guess, an inverted, or I guess inverted, like a something that I expected you to do but never did, was actually the Mojon Rebellion.
Yeah.
And there's a lot, just so much to that.
Join the Mojon Rebellion.
And unfortunately, because it's so specific to like Mechanist, I can't use it with anything else. Yeah. But I have a whole like thing built out for that.
We should do another like side mission for that or something.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe like as like a get the band back together kind of situation. Oh, yep. That's the icon.
But yeah, I agree with both of those examples of shit's off the rails.
Yeah,
it was that we might come back to later. I mean, right now there's more pressing matters. Like, look, you seem to be doing fine. We gave you fuck you. Things are going great. Well, we'll check on them later.
Yep.
He's just a kaiju.
Fuck you, by the way, was a red cap, and the only thing he said to identify his name was "fuck you."
Yep. I don't know if you guys know what a red cap is, but they are basically like, imagine sadistic gnomes, essentially, who are slightly skinnier but absolutely jacked, and are just melee enthusiasts, we'll just say. And they freed one who was imprisoned, and he was obviously quite belligerent. Because even though they're bloodthirsty, they're still Fae, so there's still like an element of like, I do not want to be imprisoned kind of situation. And didn't give his name to the point where it was just fuck you is essentially how he was communicating. So
he was not nice.
Yeah, Mr. U is how he is currently.
The best part is Rollum, the other Furbolg, convinced the Modron that the red cap was his next of kin.
I mean, I don't think you really even convinced it, because wasn't the Modron just like, oh, is that your next of kin? He was like, yes. Like, I'm pretty sure he made that incorrect assumption, and then Roland was like, aight.
Well, I think it kind of came up in conversation, because it was like, I want to say it was. Did you
have to like sign a contract, and that's when you were like,
yeah,
he is my next of kin.
I'm trying to remember. Fuck it, Afra. That's what it was. Afra mentioned something about what happens if he dies. He's like, oh well, the money will just go to his next of kin, and that's when Rome was like, I'm his next of kin. Let me see that. Yeah.
Oh my god. This is why Roland will never be allowed home again. No, I'm just kidding. Like, that's hilarious. I think that's also one of the other things that makes Roland as a character, which is Flandy's character in the Legacy campaign, very interesting, is like he comes from a very like well-meaning culture and society, and like they get more of an understanding of his parents in difficult terrain just because of Ryland's like closer connection to it. But if you see the family he comes from, and then you see the shit he gets up to, it's like, what happened? But no, I love it. Like I actually think that's like something that's so interesting about him, and part of the reason I loved that. Like the interesting thing about Rollum was because, as we've said many times before, I basically bullied Flandy into playing D&D with us, because he was like, I'll just watch. And I was like, nah, bitch, get in here. So I kind of like forced him into it. Oh, there it is. Yeah,
it's cut off.
it doesn't fit great, but it's all right. Yeah, we know what that is. But I kind of forced him into playing with us. And then afterwards, Nunners got him in to play in his campaign as well, which in a way, like I kind of expected it to happen just because, look, when I forced Flandy into playing D&D with us, he didn't hate it. He didn't leave, and he didn't tell me I was an asshole or anything. So like he seemed to have a good time. So like it's a matter of time before he hops in Nunners' campaign. And when he did, I had no fucking idea, which is hilarious because those brothers come from a culture that I completely made up. So like now I was like, oh, so now there's a second brother that's a part of this storyline. But I loved it. I
for the record, I was way nicer than Foos because you got to play Snowfur for your first.
Yeah.
And you were clutch in that fight, so that worked out well.
Yeah. No, it was great.
It was an interesting to come up with him because there was obviously some of it that were like, I'm not the greatest backstory maker because I'm still new at it. So I was like, I don't know, he's Ryland's brother. Yeah, let's go with that. That's easy, right? We already have that. Why not? And then I love that he's so different from where he came up. And there's obviously like maybe we'll have one shot one day where we explore what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
But without going too far into spoilery stuff, there's a reason he's not there in Legacy campaign, or I'm sorry, difficult terrain. And Foos always jokes that it's because he's dead.
He's dead.
But I think if he does make it through all this stuff, I think it's a conscious decision he's making. I think because of where he came from and all the shit that's happened, I feel like he feels that he can't go back home, and that will probably never be an option for him, which is an interesting dynamic that hasn't been discussed within the group yet, which is kind of interesting, right? Because like, what are you doing?
Man, what are you doing?
Don't you like not leave your family? What the fuck?
Yeah,
and then they meet him. They're like, oh, you probably got kicked out. Okay. No questions.
I mean, you found him trapped underwater. And that kind of just set the tone, ironically, for like how he is.
Like, strangely enough, also, like, we're going way off course, but, whatever. Yeah. But talking again about, like, Rolam and, like, the interesting things that he brings to that dynamic as well is, like, in the years that we've been playing D&D, and, like, granted, we took many years off and played back into it again, I have never, in the history of me playing a game, ever had the characters in character take a live vote whether a character should stay with them or they should kick him out. But that's what happened to Roland. The rest of the characters were like, should we keep him? Should we kick him out? And it genuinely came down to, like, I think it was 3-2. Like, it was really close. And it was like 2-2 with the last vote, if I remember correctly. Like, it was close.
It was a very sad day for Flandy. Very happy, like not happy, but like a mediocre day for Roland. But Flandy was like, man, he could have went dark. He could have like came back and like been a super villain. This could have been an amazing start to a horrible story.
Yeah, I was so interested in seeing like how that went, and like I guess just because I mean the other thing that I'm also bringing that up because the start of it was they found Roland trapped underwater, essentially. Like, he could breathe somehow. I think he had the spell, or maybe they gave the spell to you so you could just be trapped forever and not drown. But you were like underwater, trapped, and that was part of the reason why Katasu brought it up, because he was like, we found him. we found him underwater in a trap, and I saved him, and everybody else has been sent out on this mission from a very trusted source. We don't know how did he even fucking get there? Like, that was part of the argument of like, that's why I don't vote for him kind of thing. But yeah, it was some fascinating shit. But anyway.
Yeah, Foos, what's your answer?
My answer, the first thing that popped into my head was when you guys decided to split up and then get into trouble in different parts of the city at the same fucking time. And I had to DM 2 different fights on the same screen at the same time.
Oh yeah, that was
nuts. I totally understand why the characters split up. Like, it made sense. But there were different things that were going to happen to like different people. Like, I think the group that like Team Valen and Duvessa and Ryland, you guys were going to like check out what was going on with your brother. So you were testing that out, and you went outside to go figure that out. And then the rest of the team was kind of outside, just trying to kind of not keep an eye on you because you guys were flying so far, but it was just like almost be on call in a way, like maybe be out and ready in case you guys needed help. So Team Ryland, Duvessa, and Valen get into trouble immediately. Like they recognize an enemy that they've recognized or like encountered before, and then like just immediately like, no, we're going in on this shit. We're gonna fucking fight.
The driver was what, a giant eagle at the time? What was he? What'd you make him?
A giant eagle. Yeah, the driver, which was the paladin, who was polymorphed into a giant eagle so they could survey the area a little better. So it was giant eagle. In his clutches was the rogue, and on his back was the wizard. And they were soaring around the city looking for something. But anyway, you guys got into that fight on the rooftops in that area. And the rest of the group, because they were out and it was like, it wasn't crazy late yet, so like the city was still bustling, I had them roll a random encounter. And that encounter just happened to be another fight. Because also, like, they weren't being inconspicuous, because you guys were like, they were clearly on call for you. So you see like a bunch of armored people walking through the city, you're gonna get attention. And unfortunately, the way I rolled, it was like a fight essentially as well. So I had to DM those two fights, and like I at first was gonna have them on different maps and just keep swapping, but I was like, that's too much work. We're just gonna put them on the same damn map. I'm gonna put a hard bar of darkness down the center of the map. It's gonna be one side is one fight and one side is the other fight. So I'm just gonna have to like move, scroll back side to side every time I go into one side or the other. It was chaos. So I think like as a DM, I was like, I'm just gonna have to figure out the easiest way to do this, and I think this is it. Like I guess. Also in the way that the tree bender fight went down, because that random encounter was that tree bender was going to attempt, like, was going to possibly get stolen. And because you guys are so used to being attacked, when the fog cloud went down, that team was like defensive immediately. It was just kind of like, all right, get ready to attack or be attacked, like just figure out what's going on. But during that time where everyone was kind of like waiting for something to happen, Treebender was taken, just because of the way that whole Treebender's their owlbear, by the way. So
and we got him back.
He did get him back. He got him back in the same night. That was the longest night, I think.
Oh my god!
Characters' nights.
What was that, like 5 sessions?
It was 5 sessions,
More?
but it was like 30 fights. You guys got into so much shit.
Oh.
That's why I took the zillions, because I felt like after that night, Valen fucking earned it.
That's true. You're a chunky wizard now. You have a lot of hit points. You're doing good.
Yeah, it was. We had the Treebender got stolen. We found the fucking the SoundCloud rapper. Budai showed up. We found Kemen, the weird gift celestial. We made the deal that the queen was gonna summon fucking Valen and his newly found real life brother at any point. We dealt with that. Left. Ryland lost his stick of returning.
You still not have that?
No,
we still don't have it.
Oh no, we gotta go get the bag.
He's so Flighty thought it was like an instantaneous thing. He didn't realize it was like the Iron Giant, where it's like ding 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 ding.
So it is just like hanging a window right now for like 3 days.
Yeah. Well, also like you do know that like it would kind of meander its way around to get to you too. So like it's not like
so as soon as someone opens the door, you got it.
Right? The problem was he lost it in that like
the deep underground.
Yeah, the underground room where the baddies were. So like which also cracks me up, because like you guys leave and then there's just like a second where he calls it back, and after that like intense conversation there's just like a ding, 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 ding. As the stick just like hits the ceiling where like the bad guys are like,
you describing that was like my brain was losing it. It was just that it was like them opening a window, like, God, fucking idiots.
Yeah. Oh my god! At this point, I think they stole it just to like be spiteful and be like, "Fuck you and your stupid,
oh yeah, 100%.
stupid magic shit." But yeah, no, it hasn't come back to you, and that cracks me up. That was the first thing that came to mind when I'm thinking of like, oh shit, okay, they're gonna do this. Here we go. I did have another hard pivot in mind. I can't remember what it was.
God, yes.
What did you say, Flandy? Oh no. I had to mute my tab because I didn't want it to make too much noise, and then I forgot my
it's
phone.
great.
God, Dino Riders. Yep.
Yes.
That's great. That is fantastic.
This is like everything a little boy wants.
Yup.
It's got lasers. It's got dinosaurs. It's got a dude with a bandana over his hair. Like,
No hair.
man.
That's amazing. I love it. Okay, I can't think of the other time. I don't know. Oh, actually, no, I do know another time. It was a very short situation, but when Nenners, Valen, decided to scry on the knoll that he remembered from his past, who is supposed to be super dead, and he's not. That was a nugget I think I had written down pages and pages and pages ago on my shit. And like I hadn't come back to it because I was like, he's never gonna why would you go scry on something that happened forever ago? It's not even relevant anymore. Like there's nothing that's happening. So when he scries on it, there's a good 20 seconds of me just buying time. Because
I remember that.
Because I was like, I have to remember exactly what I have in mind for this, because this is an important situation and I have to figure out remember what the fuck was going on. So yeah, that definitely made me like hard pivot, because I was like, he's gonna scry. All right, he's gonna scry on somebody he knows. Oh fuck, shit. Give me a second. Like find out what was happening. But yeah, I think that was my most like quick turnaround panic as a DM. Because most other things are kind of like, okay, if they're going here, then at least I can kind of prep, but you drop that on me with no hint. And scry itself isn't a terribly long spell, so it's not like, it's not something I have to keep up for long, but it was still something I was like, shit. That for sure. That
Valen's got beef, man, and
no, I love it. I thought it was great. It was just funny.
Fuck that boy up.
I don't have many sessions for that because obviously I only have like 5 sessions under my belt as a DM.
You can still have
but I think for me it's just just kind of what we're talking about, developing those backstories and like going further in.
Oh, I know one right now.
I absolutely love at the tavern, the fucking portal. Do you have anybody who needs help? Anybody on fire? No, nobody's on fire, dude. You're being weird. And then it turned into a fucking a trade commission in this small, humble village. And just the mind cannon of what was going on there. Like, they're committing insurance fraud. I know it. Having to reel that back in. But I guess kind of what you were talking about earlier, the tunneling thing is one of those, like, I need to get these people on track. They're going this way. We're just, you know what? Yeah, the dice say you go that way. Weird. I don't know.
You're just gonna have to go in the correct direction. Yeah, exactly.
So it was a nice, fun way to kind of like push everybody back on course. Which in a one shot, it's obviously a little bit more lighthearted and fun. But I don't think I would do that in the full blown campaign. But I think that for me was the most like, yep, nope, you win that. Look at you go. And I forgot exactly what you used on the bridge with the swarm of mosquitoes or whatever, but like whatever you did, I was like, you know what, that would work. Yeah, you're fine, keep going.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what we did. That wasn't even that long ago, and I already forgot.
It was like it was either wall of wind or like it was some sort of factor that like kept them from being able to move inward more.
Yeah.
But it's always so interesting to see where things are gonna go, because in your mind you're like, all right, I know these guys so well, they're gonna do X, Y. What? How did you find that? Put that back.
That 100% that. Or in cases where like you guys like look in a different direction than maybe I was thinking, and I'm like, that was genius. I'm going to reward this. You found some shit.
Motherfucking shout out to Joe real quick for Nemesis one shot with the fucking double fake bag of holdings, weird jewel things, and using that fucking dimensional function of it. Like, I remember when I first started out reading that, I was like, oh, why would you ever do that? I mean, I guess if you need a one-way ticket to the astral plane, I guess that's kind of cool. Oh my god, that sounds rough. All right, we're gonna pocket that into things I'm never gonna do.
Right.
And like, the best part is like, he was upset with himself for not thinking of it sooner. It's like, dude, I'm just amazed you thought of that. Like, freaking throws these 2 gems, perfect precision, lights up that portal right behind the big bad, and just fucking plummets into the astral plane for presumably maybe he's terrorizing people out there. Who knows?
No, he set off the bombs.
Oh,
So,
that's right. The
yeah,
bombs.
he's
the
a
bombs with
hondo
it.
percento deado.
Super
Like,
dead.
Ah,
Can I also
That's-
like giving him more credit as well? Like that fucking the description of the scene where he was like he's laughing his ass off as he throws it, and then he's gonna T-pose his way down, and then immediately switch gears and start just like, oh my god, like, covering his head and just like fetal position, like screaming.
ah.
Like I was dying at the description.
I'm so proud of him because I specifically gave you guys 2. I was like, I don't think they're gonna. I just like it wasn't definitely like the end all. You obviously could have beat him in conventional ways, but he was kind of kicking your ass. So that was a huge.
Also, beautiful ass map, Netters. That was
Oh, thank you.
beautiful ass map.
Yeah.
Super fucking
So
cool.
many beautiful things going on.
Yeah.
I love the like. I don't know if it was for you or not, Netters. Maybe a little bit, but like the whole bag of holding principle. Like, well, I'm a wizard or warlock wizard. What I don't remember what was he a wizard?
He was a
Or
wizard.
what?
He was
Yeah.
a wizard. He was a wizard, yeah.
He was a wizard. It's like I know how magic works. I know how these things work. Is there a list that I could pull out that has all the contents? You're like, you know what? Sure, there is. And
I'm like,
just
he's an
the-
engineer. He definitely uses lists.
just the workaround to be like, yep, you know what? That's definitely there. That's going. Yep. All right. Oh man. Now we have access to bombs. A whole bunch of bombs.
Oh my god, no, it was awesome. God, no, sorry.
I'm honestly surprised you guys went for the kill on that because, yeah, I didn't think you were gonna kill the little gnome guy.
I
Well,
still
one of us
love
did.
that you were like, yeah, I sent out a bunch of guards to, be good people, and almost none of them were. Oh my god, I was cracking up when I heard that. It was so good.
I loved role playing the restraint though, because like Netter's had in my backstory for cracks that like he used to steal shit and was like,
Mm.
5-finger discount galore back in the day, and like we broke into the jewel shop and there's all that shit. And he's like, oh, he wants to, but he's a changed man. Ooh. And then just the stark difference of I rolled D20. What do I get?
Oh my god! I just love that, like the way you acted that out was like his eyes never left, but he's sitting there like, I'm a changed man. I'm a better person than this. Like, hard staring at it, like that's amazing.
Oh man,
So good.
good
So
stuff. I hard sustain. I hope we keep doing those spin-offs like that. It's great. It's a quick way to get more people involved. Fun side stories. Like both of y'all did an amazing job. I love it.
I look forward to doing it. It was super. I learned a lot from what to do and what not to do.
Yeah, I'm just saying it doesn't always
but-
have to be a one shot. We could keep 3 shots. That's cool.
we can. It was just, and then there's for some reason went in with the delusion that could be done in one night.
We're somewhat we're a little bit competitive, a little bit. Well, there was 2 things that didn't work in my favor, and I'll get back on the topic after this. One, Kit didn't really act on his backstory I gave him.
Aw, Kit, we're not
'Cause-
calling you out. You're good.
Kit,
Don't
I love
worry.
you. We spoke about this. And someone else didn't either, and that would have like that was definitely like a hey, this is an alarm bell. Something is not right. We need to go check this out. And because you didn't do that, you ended up kind of like wandering towards the gelatinis, which thankfully is a good resource and a safe haven, but it definitely took way longer to get there and then where you could have been. Because ideally you should have met up with what's her name? Gladys, whatever the fucking name was.
You forget your own NPC names, then?
Yeah, I do. I have like 6,000 of them. But anyway,
I understand. You're fine.
Yeah, but basically they would have found out that the black staff had been freed or is missing from jail, and then that should have been like a
Ruh-roh.
ding ding, like just let everybody know shit's fucked. But anyway, what was the other question, Fizzy? You still on the same one?
The original, it's just the hard pivot as a DM.
Yeah,
we'll
got it.
2 hours and 10 minutes in, but
I just want to make sure.
Oh, Nubs is finally getting up, so I'm going to take this opportunity to show him off a little bit because he's been cooking me alive. So this is my cat. His name is Nubs, and he's the best.
My background's for you right now.
Yes.
I went down a rabbit hole with these Quetzalcoatlus.
Oh my! I know.
Oh, that looks awesome.
He's been going through them. Let me tell you,
dude. That looks great. I want one of those. That looks amazing.
I don't think it counts because it's not a derp. I think Quetzalcoatlus has to be derp, and it's not. I don't like it.
Has to be derp. All right,
It has
fair.
to be derp.
Well, no, hold on. Quetzalcoatlus from the air looks dope. As soon as it lands, it's
No,
derp.
their
It
faces
does.
are still derp no matter where they are. Land or sky, that's a derp face.
Nah, it's got a cool profile though, man.
You're looking at the profile. Look at his face.
It has canards, Foos.
Look
That
at
one
his
has
face.
canards.
Those canards.
I like.
Hold up.
canards.
You want to see? Oh, I got you. Hold on. I got the face for you. Give me a sec.
Oh my god, my legs are on fire. I just took them out of the blanket. I'm actually melting.
There you go. There's
Stop melting.
there's the derp.
There it is. Oh my god, look at that thing. Look at that thing. Full derp. Oh.
Oh man.
Anyway, yeah, the conversation was still like hard pivots as DM. If you have anything else you wanted to add to it, feel free. Otherwise, I'll probably do one more question and then we can get going because we've been talking for so long, and I love it. I have no complaints at all. And also in terms of
many.
also in terms of the like shorter projects, I definitely have plans to do more of those. I think it's a nice opportunity to play other things too. So for people who are like, I just want to try, I don't know, a bard or something, and it's like, cool, you can try this bard for this 6-episode thing, and then we'll be done. Then, you know, if you like it, cool. If you're not, don't worry about it. So we'll definitely be doing more of those for sure. I mean, for my end, I don't know if Nenders. I imagine Nenders has plans.
Oh yeah, I got plans for the City Watch. Well, actually, it's going to devolve.
Devolve. Okay.
Well, so basically, you know how you guys are getting. I know Flandy already knows this, but you guys know how you're getting like resources for your city, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the fight. Basically, what I'm going to have you guys do is play those things, and then, so like it'll be, all right, we're dropping a gift kill team here to hold this thing. Whether or not they survive is up to you. And I'm going to have a bunch of like NPCs and you're going to play. And you're like, okay, this team's going to sneak in through here and try to sabotage the main gate. You're going to play those guys. So I'm going to have a series of one-shots, or, you know, not even one-shots, just like kind of events, because there's not going to be a lot of role-playing. It's going to be very combat, except for the sneak team, or like maybe you'll have like another team. But depending on who you guys get to go in there, like you're going to have all these
teams.
0-6 teams, of course. Right? But basically, you're going to have different teams fighting.
For the sneak team, I'm going to bring a paladin.
Every one of you assholes is wearing plate.
Can it be overly righteous, and that if anything is even remotely like gray, he like shouts it out, or she shouts it like?
I honestly imagine that. I honestly imagine them with like Bert's voice from Task Team M, or it's like, I say that. I just anyway. I'm sorry, Dennis. Carry on.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, so basically I'm going to have like a series of, you know, and then where you place them, you know, there's going to be it's kind of like a game, right? It's going to be like, this is high risk. This is going to be relatively low risk, but you got a critical thing to do. So there's going to be opportunities for people to jump in or jump out if they want to do something else that night or whatever. But you have a lot of opportunities to play different things going. Because I definitely want to, like that last fight, you know, the sieging of that city, I want it to feel like a siege. Like you have you have these units. Some of them are gonna make it, some of them aren't. Like you're gonna have like, all this kind of stuff, and depending on how you do is gonna dictate how your the path your characters essentially are gonna have going in.
Awesome. Yeah, actually, that was part of the interesting thing about Task Team M, because I knew that the outcome would very much influence difficult terrain. So I was like, we're gonna see how this goes. And a part of me was like, this could be a terrible risk that I should not take. But another part of me was like, but it's exciting. And also as a DM and a player, I love stakes. So I love
sometimes you gotta earn that win. Yeah.
Right, exactly. If it's like this is scary, or you know, like there's a lot on the line right now. I don't know. I enjoy being a part of that. So that's part of the reason why.
Yeah. No,
Okay. Flame, did you have anything else? I don't want to. What are you doing? What are you doing over there? You're searching real hard. Is there a cat? There's a cat. Oh. Oh, buddy. What are you doing?
He was jumping down off my other desk over there, and the chair started spinning, and he was like,
That's amazing. All right.
Bye.
Next and last question. Obviously, if there's a spoiler attached to this, then you don't have to explain. But as a DM, name a moment or a time where you wanted to give away information that the players were so close to finding out, but they missed it. A clue, information, even like a baddie or anything like that. And again, like if it's spoilery, obviously you don't have to say anything. But something that is known now, maybe, and was like, you could have figured that out before. Ooh, thinking hard
I'll
on
start
this.
while y'all take it now. I don't
Yeah.
have very many yet because obviously my campaign, like as the whole, is very young.
Yeah.
I think the closest obviously would have been the one shot where it's like, no, just no, no, okay, all right, that's
You were the one I thought of for this question because you were sitting there as the one shot DM, like, oh, just come on, you can do it. Go, no, come on, guys. Like, even if you weren't saying it, there are times I feel like I could see it in your smile. Like,
Yeah.
you were smiling, but you were like, come on.
Yeah, but like especially with the puzzles going in, because I don't think we've had puzzles throughout, but I think a lot of what we've been playing has been more like big picture puzzles, not like here's a little puzzle, figure it out. Or it's been like, the irate Swami, and how the fuck are we supposed to get Mir to swallow out of that?
Yep.
So I think it was interesting to pull people back into the mindset of puzzles, and it was funny to see, like, I saw it with you, like Vaga was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be this way, and you're like, no, it's not. But
I couldn't say anything.
everything's fine. Which again, from my side too, it's like nothing happened.
Yep. Exactly. As a player, that's one of the times where like metagaming was rough, like to not do essentially, because like I knew what the correct answer was, and because her character didn't say anything out loud, and my character had an int of like 7, like like I'm not gonna know. So like when she got it wrong, Foos was like, but I like didn't say anything.
Yep. Oh man, I thought that was great. But yeah, other than that, there's not really too much. The frost aura in the cave could have potentially been
Hey,
one.
Bagley, what's up, girl?
Depending on how you handle. Love you, Bagley.
We love you, girl. We're talking about moments where it was hard for us as a DM to like not step in and correct a player or let them know that they missed something or anything like that. So that cracks us up.
Yeah. The frost aura was definitely a close one, because like especially the way the group dynamic was going, and how amazingly like to the T Kit was playing the character he wanted to portray. I was like, oh man, they could totally let's see what happens. Kind of like sit back and let it unfold. And I think that would have been very hard for me to let y'all like ignore or continue on. I may have broken, I probably would have broken on that one if y'all just ignored him and like, but you should really go back if you don't know that.
Oh yeah. There are. I'm gonna let Dennis talk after this because I think you wanted to say something. But like,
no, you're good.
In general, there are times where like you guys did miss something, but like there's always opportunities to see them later. It is so hard to shut the fuck up about it. Oh my god! Like I'm crawling in my skin. These wounds, they will not heal. I'm dying in the background sometimes. It's very rare though, because you guys are thorough, so it's not often. But Dennis, what were you gonna say?
So my brain just jettisoned everything I was thinking of. Actually, it was in the one shot, because
stop calling them one shots.
In the 3-shot, I had left a lot of like hints as to why, like, okay, this, because that was also kind of why I was like a little sad about the thing, because it was like in everyone's backstories, you had like either pieces of this guy's pain or like reasons to understand why he was doing what he was doing. It's like, oh, where was his daughter? Oh, she was at the ball that night. And like, what was his other daughter doing? Oh, she was here. Why does this guy know so much about medicine? Oh, his son's a healer. He helped him study. And he's obviously quite smart because he's an engineer, so he picked all of it up. Like, it was all these like clues as to like how deep this guy's pain is.
Yeah.
Right.
Was his daughter one of the ones who died?
All of them died.
He was saying one of his daughters died in the Rollum Tower fuck up.
His
One
wife
of
and
them
daughter
at
died
the
in that,
ball.
and then his son died at the ball because he was a healer there. Yeah.
No, if he just talked to Revive, she would have handed Roll him over.
Yeah. So it was rough.
No,
So
He's all yours.
yeah.
Just where you go from there, right? Vengeance. It's there's you have nothing left to lose. You're this crazy military engineer guy. I will give a very, very minor hint, but there is an element of an NPC that you guys kind of touched on and like never investigated. And you have to factor in that I usually go into depth about things I know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll leave it at that. But given my profession, you might be able to like tie something together. But there is definitely somebody who like, you're like, hey, didn't they something? And then I was like, oh yes, we're onto it. And then just dropped it. I was like, okay, never mind.
Was that during your 3-shot or in general?
No, during Legacy.
Legacy. Oh, okay. Oh shit.
No.
That could be so many things.
I can't. If I give you two, give a hint.
No, you're fine. Yeah, don't.
So that's
good.
why I like this. I'm trying to keep it as vague.
Let our stupid asses figure it out or let it hit us in the face. I'm right.
Yep. But there's definitely one I'm like, oh, you're so close.
100%.
And it's hard. Like it's so weird because like you're like, all right, I know if we were doing this in person, out of character, and like I drop something like this, you pick it up. But when you're in character, there's like a surprising barrier.
Yeah.
Of understanding there. Like, because you're in, like, you're like, what is it, one level deep into the subconscious, so like you lose a little bit of that like retention there, like with Flandy with the mirror, right? Because like it was initially refracting, right? And I guarantee you, in any other kind of STEM situation, you're like, oh yeah, it's gonna reflect. And then 2 horrible rolls later, and we're in Hilarityville. So yeah, it's just little things like that. We're like, yeah, this kid, he knows it. I know he knows it. It's just his character isn't picking it up, and because he's in that character, you know, it's also
sometimes that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree. Yep, it's by no means like I'm lamenting. It's just as a DM, you're like, oh, he's gonna. Oh wait.
And like that is also part of the beauty of like playing some of these characters who it's like I like as a player would probably piece that together, but my character probably not. Like and that's one of the reasons why like I am happy I get to play Revia because she is like her int score as I constantly bother Landy about. Like she's the highest naturally smart person in the team. But like everyone else has like things that adjust their int to certain numbers or whatever. So like in general, I think in some of the ways that I like to piece things together, she would. So it's a little easier for me to kind of play that part of her. However, whenever I play a dumb character, I'm like, this is great. Jesus, take the wheel. I'm just here, you know, like I get to say stupid shit and not worry about it. You know, like
that instantly reminds me of fucking Thad beating on the living wall, and you're like, are you just gonna keep? I mean, I'm not gonna stop you, but
yeah, 100%. What's my thing? I really wanted to do more of this space, but I couldn't see. Oh, the fight with the Mirror Man in the Mirror World. Oh yeah, I really wanted to do more. Couldn't see, and I was not confident that Nirja would do what I would have done with the pieces of the mirror. No, you don't think so? I think she kind of. I don't know. I think you played it right, and where she kind of noticed something, and then was like, "What is this?" Like, let me look at this shit. You know, and also like in her advancing at the same time too, like still moving as she's trying to figure things out. I think that was well done. Like in terms of her character, you know, like as a tactician, you'd be like, not sure what's going on. Let me just do something.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do this.
I'm not sure what's going on, but I know I'm not doing anything now, right? Like you're gonna move into position at that point. That makes sense.
I think Rylan probably would have sat crisscross applesauce trying to figure it out. We're like, okay, all right, what do I gotta do? But no, I think Nirja definitely would have been like, hold on, I'm coming. What the fuck is this?
Yeah, and as a DM, that was actually kind of like a tough moment, just because like you were so frustrated. And I could feel it, but like as Flandy kind of touched on earlier when Vugly you weren't here, but like in general, like I think Nutters and I will always do our best to make sure that there's a way out of things. Like, we're never going to put you in something that's like, you're stuck. Fuck you. Like, you done made a mistake. Especially in that case, because it was very easy for him to put anyone in that. Like, so long as one of his duplicates hit someone with one of his 3 attacks, and if he hits all 3, you have 3 dexterity saving throws to pass. So, like, it's easy to put people in, but it's relatively easy to come back out. And that was kind of the intention, where it's like,
shout out to Vogel on the fucking banish. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but it was brilliant in the type. Like, banish yourself. I was like, that's the fucking move. Let's go. Didn't have it prepared. I was like, yes.
It's the one day. Yeah,
so
like
good.
Vogel, you did well. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. But we were talking about oh god, I got derailed because I was talking about I read Mirror Man and my brain can only think Mirror Man right now. What the hell? We were talking about something. What were we talking about? What was my question? Help me.
Playing Revive, dumb characters, smart.
No. The question
Natural
that we were answering as DMs. Do you remember?
Time you wanted to help somebody out but couldn't.
Ah, there it is. Thank you. Where everyone was really, really close to something, and it was like, just go in, just you got it. One of them, it's not that terribly important, just because like I knew it was gonna come up at some point. But this was like, again, way pre-recording. This was right after the Cosvena arc, where you guys went back to the Tenacity Den, and Tomna was fucking around with that that puzzle scroll that you guys found out was the Mir Tiswa thing. Because that was what he was working on then. So I've had that document ready since then.
Ooh,
and actually Valen was kind of like, maybe it's not meant to be solved, because Tomna was like, it makes
I remember that.
no sense. Like, he was like confused about it because it was
Yeah.
like this crazy code, and like once he got the code, then he got it in those different languages, and then he had to translate that. In some cases he knew it, sometimes he didn't.
Yep.
So that's why it was like bananas. But if you started then, you could have been working on that the whole time as well, which I don't necessarily think would have made it like easier. I think you guys would have had a lot less answers filled in, because Tom in his free time was like, while you guys are fucking around, I'm just gonna figure this out. You know. But that could have been something that you guys stepped into a little bit earlier, I guess, is what I'm saying. Long story short. There was also the something about the egg with Aksa. When you found her eggshell, and you were like, it's an egg, and then that was the greatest fucking conversation ever, because everyone was like, you're born from eggs? And he's like, yes. It's not, look, it's just how we are, okay? Gith are born from eggs. That's just what it is. Everyone's like, you found her egg? What?
I had so much fun with that scene, because A, Flanny didn't know that, and then B, I can only imagine Rylan had no fucking clue. He's like, are you a bird? Do you have like, I am one of nature. I'm not the greatest nature, but there are only a few things that come out eggs, and I don't think people are one of them.
Yeah, I feel like in that like, I don't know, span of like 20 minutes where the whole group was discussing it, I feel like everyone was looking at Valen differently. It's like, you came out of an egg?
Rylan's like lifted up his ears, like, is there a scale hidden here somewhere? There's got to be a scale somewhere on you.
I love that whole like conversation of what was going on with it. But if Ryland or anybody who had a like detect celestial pinged it, the egg would have pinged just a little bit celestial.
Oh shit!
So that was something
crazy.
Which you had no reason to do, but it was one of those like, you know, because most of the time you do your paranoid sweeps. So in a way, I was expecting you to be like, fight's over, I'm gonna do paranoid sweep. And then I was gonna be like, it's real weird, but it's coming from the egg.
Yeah, no, that's smart. Like, I don't think he's ever found anything good with his sense. It's always been bad.
I mean, not good, right. Okay, I see what you mean, like celestial. Well, you found a few celestials at the airship marketplace.
Yeah, but let's be real, all the motherfuckers were shady on there.
Most of them were demons and devils, correct. However, you did ping, I think he pinged like 2 celestials there.
Yeah. Speaking of, has that ever like thrown you for? I kind of jumping back to the last question. Has any of Rylan's divine senses ever like been like, well, fuck, I wasn't.
Sometimes. I think the only time it has is if you're walking through the city and doing it at a random time. Because like for the most part, I usually have you guys roll to see what's going on, but sometimes there are things that are just happening anyway. And those times it's like, shit, are they? Is that in range? Is that not in range? Like, what's going on? Especially like, for example, like you kind of know about her skulking around anyway, but Lahiri is very much like trying to keep tabs on a lot of different things. And she knows very much about your ability. So like as what she is, she's going to make sure she's far enough away that that's never an issue.
Yeah.
But you know, for other situations where it comes up, it's like, oh, yep, that pings. But yeah, I'm like, a part of me kind of knew going into this that that ability would possibly throw me for a loop every now and then, because I literally sent a paladin to a place where he knew there's a lot of fiends running around. So I was like, yeah, he's gonna spam it as he should. like, the character and the player know that demons are around. Why wouldn't he every now and then just be like, let's do a quick room check? Let's just make sure everyone here is not a demon. We're good. Don't worry. So in a way, yeah. But I actually thought with the Dybbuk, the undead dude, when you first went in the sandstorm where you found a bunch of them and they're rare.
Yep.
I thought he was probably gonna make it into the dome before anything happened. Just because like it was unpleasant to be out there. Ryland's in a bad, situation. And like, because if you did spring the trap when you're out there, like that's just bad news for Ryland. He's not in the thing. It takes some time to get back in, and like the group can't really see. So I was like, I imagine he'll wait. I honestly figured you would do it immediately, like as soon as you came out, or you would do it when you were in the dome. But no, you did it outside, like halfway in between when you already had him like under your wing.
I love that too, because it's like from Ryland's like backstory, like he's compassionate, he cares about people, like seeing people suffering like is a pull on the heartstrings for him.
Yeah.
But then like he also just has that like low tolerance. So like he would not do well in like that supervillain versus supervillain fight where you're just doing a whole bunch of schemey shit. Like he would just be like, let's go, what's up, what you got?
Yeah.
Look, you already know my moves. So like seeing that ping, especially with the group's warnings, like no, stay in the dome, there's bad things going, we need help. Like they're like, no, but they might. God damn it, they're right. Maybe there's an explanation. And I think that was kind of like the hope there, is like maybe there's just some sort of like, oh yeah, I died back in the day, I just kind of wear a facade so people don't take me the wrong way. I was like, all right, cool, that is a possibility in Ryland's mind.
Yep.
I mean, it is a possibility, just not in Trauma Train.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It literally is. Actually, I think I can talk about this because I'm definitely going to be like, if we ever go back to Elkheim, I will 100% be like rebooting everything, pretty much, most likely from like the ground up. A lot of like normal things will stay. But actually, one of the shopkeeps that you guys were pretty close with was undead.
Oh, shit. Fat Rabbit?
It was not Fat Rabbit.
All right.
But yeah, so I was like, yeah, that would have been a moment where it could have been tension. But like, you guys didn't have a paladin. The only cleric you had was Puba, and he didn't really interact with things like in RP wise. And no one else really investigated too hard. There was a moment where one character had a decent hint, but it was like there was also a lot going on at the time. So it was like,
it was a shopkeep?
Yeah, it was one of the shop people that you interacted with. But they were undead, and it would have been interesting if someone was just like, oh, that's an undead person, and they immediately kind of, you don't really hear about good undead things running around. So it's like natural reaction is to be like, what the fuck? So I was looking forward to seeing what that was gonna look like, but it never came up, so it's all good. What is Vodley saying? What was it like playing an NPC that had a very different set of skills than what you're used to? More intelligent, more wise than you.
Bailey's way smarter than I am.
I fucking struggle so hard with people who are more patient than I am. It's very hard for a Foos to be very patient.
I'm gonna grab a drink, but keep that. I'll be right back.
Okay. But yeah, for me, it's definitely like patience. I think that actually comes in with a lot of like, I think like leadership roles that I role play. Like especially the kings. Waimiti is so composed and wise and that is so hard for me. I am loud, and like, I mean, maybe I say some wise things sometimes, but not like fucking 100% of the time. I am a good person to lean on kind of thing, and like with him, I very much have to try and be that, and that's the struggle for sure. I very much like have to like sit back and like let him react more than proactively say things. Like it's very much like he'll step up if he needs to, and that's why Mytho is very much the like noisy kind of like front man. Like he will talk most of the time, and he's a little bit more like me. I think he's a little more like crafty than I am in general, but like yeah, my meaty is a fucking struggle for me to to roleplay. But yeah, that was mine. Dennis, did you have something in mind?
Igwe is so hard for me to play.
Oh, yeah.
I love him as a character, and this is by no means a complaint, but I literally have to turn myself down to like quarter speed.
Yeah.
And I also have to quell all my violent tendencies. Because I'm definitely a talk shit, get hit kind of person in general. Like, I won't fuck with you, but you start swinging on me, I'm going to swing back. But he's peace still made. So he's not doing that. Yeah. He's got this inner tranquility that I will never have. And it's fun to explore that as a character for sure, but it is a struggle. I mean, there's times where I literally have to stop myself and be like, okay, just dial yourself back, like way back, way back. Okay, here we go.
Yep.
Start again.
Yep.
Yeah. NPC, I don't really have an NPC
that you struggle with at all.
Amal was tough. But that was just kind of voice and.
I still loved his voice so.
Trying to think who else.
My gosh.
Like intellectually wise, I think I may have struggled a little bit with Tabra being like as planning and as sadistic as he is, because I didn't really like. It's hard to go that far.
Well, shit, I fucking could not tell, man. You were killing it.
Yeah.
He's like, I mean, he's somewhat complex, or was somewhat complex, but yeah, like that was
fucking great job.
Yeah,
you're great. Now just keep it up.
But yeah, player wise, I think Igwe in the wisdom realm is very tough for me to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oof. Okay. Well, Flame, did you have anything to add?
I mean, I'm still learning a lot of stuff, so like there's some times where it's difficult, especially when it comes to figuring things out like that you would just know from playing, over a long period of time. So there are definitely times where my characters are smarter than me with certain things, especially when it comes to like remembering stuff, like lore base and like the full depth of it. But it is much harder to play a dumb character than I thought.
Oh my god, I love dumb characters.
Well, I love it, but it's hard in some like, and I'm not talking like in zero, like, and maybe not even like even just a flat in, right? Like when you figure things out before your character, like you have to put yourself in that backseat and be like,
oh, I see what you mean. Yo, I'm having a great fucking time being fucking not caring about shit. It's wonderful. That's part of the reason I love playing Kremen so much. Like, I don't know what's happening. I'm just here for the ride.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Like, he doesn't care. Like, I mean, he does care about some things, but like, the level of responsibility is super low for him right now. Because he's like, I have a list of things that I care about, and they're kind of all in this room. So anything else is like, I don't know.
Well, that's why I say it's difficult for me as a player. Like, I want to help figure out what the fuck's going on. Like, there's all these things going, and it's like my character would never do that. So, but how do we figure that? Because it's for me, it's like solving a puzzle. Like, I want to solve the puzzle, but I can't.
That was me playing in your one shot, your two shot that we played. Where like I felt such freedom. It was wonderful. I was like, no, you guys don't know it. Too bad, I don't either. We'll just
too bad. Oh man,
it did not bother me at all. Like maybe I'm a terrible person for that, but I'm like, it's kind of nice just letting someone else have to figure this out. I'll hang out. This is great.
No complaints.
Anyway, I think I normally have us end with like a rapid fire, but because there's only 3 of us and we're bad at that, or at least some of us are.
What? We're not bad. We're totally.
1/3 of us is terrible.
Get the fuck out of here, Foos. Nobody likes you.
But
You got these bullshit ass questions. I'm not supposed to answer them in 1 second. Get the hell out.
it's okay. I love you very much. But we will probably just end here instead. We'll get to raiding somebody else, but I believe we'll be back tomorrow for difficult terrain. If we are not, then I don't know. Maybe we'll have another cheese episode, but where people can come. I don't know. We'll see. Poor Maya's not feeling great, so unfortunately, we're gonna see how she feels tomorrow, and hopefully she can join us. Excuse me, I'm hiccuping while talking, and it's not comfortable. But anyway, give me a second. We're gonna go find somebody to raid.
Rades.
Rades. Oh shit! I think they're using. Oh, I forgot what it's called. We're gonna go. I think it's called Jammy. Jammi. We're gonna go raid them because I think they're using what is that thing? God dang it! That 3D VTT thing where like you get to move the actual tokens around like on the map and stuff. So they're on
Cool.
On the Steam thing.
Cool. So let's go say hi to them. Let's go for the raid. And
hold on, I have it. What's it called? I know what it is.
I'm pretty sure I have it too. I thought it was like table something, but I don't remember what it was. But we're gonna go start the raid. So if you're hanging out, come raid with us. And thank you for being here. And have a wonderful night. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. And if not, we love you. I don't know. We'll talk to you later. Be safe.
Hold on, I gotta find it. Oh no.
We're going for
I ain't gonna find it in time. No.
Bye.
No. Tailspire. Got it. Bam.